guaranteed human.
Champ on AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. The John Kobylt Show. Welcome. We're on from 3 to 6 every day after 6 o'clock. If you miss stuff, and today's not a day to miss anything, John Kobylt Show on demand. But if you do, it's the same as a radio show. You get that after 6. We are live on YouTube, live on X. And on YouTube, you can subscribe, become a member at youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. And a reminder, we're going to do a live stream at 11 a.m. tomorrow. 11 a.m. tomorrow, a special 1-hour live stream, or maybe 45 minutes live stream. And now it's important because tomorrow we only have 1 hour on the radio. We're only going to be on between 3 and 4 because the Los Angeles Chargers preseason game is going to be broadcast, their first one. Yay. And, I can just feel, I can feel LA shaking. So they're on KFI, and so we're getting preempted from 4 o'clock on. But you'll have 2 hours of information and entertainment if you pair the 3 o'clock hour tomorrow with the live stream at 11 a.m. So do it that way, and it'll all be on the podcast as well. All right, let's business here because we really do have a lot of stuff. Later on in the show, we're going to have Royal Oaks on about the indictment, grand jury indictment of Nick Reiner, and laid out a case, and these charges could bring the death penalty. Also, in an hour, one of Deborah's people, Colleen O'Brien from PETA. Right, we're getting Colleen on? No, we're getting Lisa Lange on. Excuse me. Lisa Lange is the PETA Senior Vice President. Colleen wrote to us, and Lisa's going to come on the show because I was on a rage over PETA, not, to my mind, doing very much about the Skid Row dog murders and torture situation. So Lisa Lange is going to explain that. And Karen Bass had a major announcement on that issue today. We'll discuss that, see if that's believable. Michael Gates, the former city attorney for Huntington Beach, running for California Attorney General, he's going to come on. And special thing in a half an hour, we're going to replay the interview we did yesterday with Robert F. Kennedy, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, who announced yesterday, along with another Trump official, that L.A. is being cut off for federal homeless money. LAHSA spigot is off. No more, because it's so corrupt and so wasteful. And that became the lead story. What they did became the lead story not only in the L.A. Times, but also in the California Post this morning. So we will replay you that interview coming up in just a few minutes. Now, this next audio we're going to play, oh, this is great. This is a classic. If the media only did reports like this every day of the year, life would be much better in California. Julie Watts from CBS California, Northern California, I think she's based out in Sacramento, has done a story on how the Office of the Inspector General announced earlier this week that high-speed rail might be out of money in December of 2027. Unless it can beg more money from somewhere, it's out of funding. And she talks about that in this piece and about Newsom never buying the trains that he promised to buy. And that's why the Trump administration cut him off from the money flow as well. So listen to this. This story is terrific. Listen to how many different ways Newsom is cornered. Julie Watts, roll it.
Did you ever hear of Gavin Newsom? That train is the worst cost overrun I've ever seen.
How about mis and disinformation?
Remember when President Trump pulled $4 billion in federal funding from California's high-speed rail, and Governor Newsom said it was a political attack? Well, it turns out there's more to the story. Records revealed California high-speed rail failed to do the one thing it promised the feds, a federal judge, and taxpayers it would do: buy the trains. This is the federal funding agreement. California agreed to buy the trains by December 31st, 2024. It didn't. And there were warning signs.
There's been some discussion about perhaps
redesigning or reconfiguring the train sets.
Less than 2 months before the deadline, board members raised concerns about the new CEO's plan to change the train designs in the middle of the bidding process.
We may have to cancel that procurement or rewrite a new specification.
Sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt. We are in active
A
procurement,
lawyer for high-speed rail shut down the conversation.
so I'm just going to ask that we not discuss it here. I would highly recommend conversations with the CEO.
Weeks later, they missed that deadline, which the Trump administration pointed to when they pulled the federal funding about 6 months later. So California sued, promising a federal judge in sworn court filings it would buy the trains by December 1st, 2025. High-speed rail missed that deadline too, canceling the board meeting where they were supposed to approve the contract. Then, just 2 days before Christmas, California quietly dropped the lawsuit. This time, no press release, just a couple sentences buried on the high-speed rail website saying the Trump administration was not a reliable partner. Why did we pull the lawsuit?
That was a client matter. It was appropriate for us to pull the lawsuit.
That's California Attorney General Rob Bonta at the governor's State of the State a couple weeks after he dropped the lawsuit. Meanwhile,
I debated whether or not to include this.
this is what the governor had to say that day about the status of high-speed rail.
We're also laying tracks. Laying tracks, the nation's first high-speed rail system.
Except they weren't. To be clear, there are no high-speed rail tracks laid as of today.
Not yet, no.
That is the high-speed rail inspector general, 6 months after the governor's State of the State address. And this is not high-speed rail track that Newsom and the CEO are hammering nails into. It's a prop. As for the trains, they're still officially listed as TBD. Trains that are expected to take at least 4 years to manufacture and at least another 2 to test. A countdown that was supposed to begin back in 2024.
I would highly recommend conversations with the CEO.
Now, Governor Newsom and high-speed rail didn't answer our questions about the reason for the delays. They did send us a copy of a Biden-era federal review that found no fraud, waste, or abuse, but that was before these missed deadlines under the new CEO.
Julie Watts, CBS California, up in Northern California. What a terrific story. And she opened with a clip of Trump saying high-speed rail is the worst project in American history. And then a clip of Newsom going, well, that's misinformation and disinformation. No, it's the absolute truth. Newsom was lying there. There is no mis or disinformation. And Julie Watts explained why. They were supposed to buy trains with the federal money. They had a deadline in 2024. They missed it. They went before a judge and they promised the judge by the end of 2025 they'd buy the trains. They never did. They still haven't bought the trains. And then in his State of the State address, and you heard it, Newsom claimed, well, we're laying tracks. No, another lie. 6 months later, the Inspector General says, no, there are no tracks. There are no tracks. There are no trains. There's no misinformation. There's no disinformation. And this was the cherry on the cake. You really ought to see Julie Watts' TV segment. You have to see goofball Newsom looking like a teenage kid holding a big hammer, and he and the crazy CEO Ian Chowdhury, the two of them are hammering nails and spikes into the rail, except that's not the high-speed rail. That wasn't high-speed rail track. Like Julie Watts said, it was a prop. He's holding like a big hammer, a prop. No nails, no spikes, no track that had anything to do with high-speed rail. They situated the photo up in front of a train, but that wasn't a high-speed train. The TV covered the whole thing as if it was real. None of it was real. No high-speed rail, no hammer and nail building a high-speed rail track, no high-speed rail train. None of it exists. But he had this big, goofy grin on his face like, look, Mom, look what I'm doing. I'm hammering a nail in. I'm building a high-speed rail track. What a psychotic fraud he is. And there's $18 billion flushed away. When we come back, the wannabe successor to the narcissistic psychopath, Xavier Becerra. He's asked yesterday about high-speed rail in front of reporters. Listen to his plan here when we come back. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. A local nonprofit's helping Eaton fire survivors rebuild and stay in their community. And a family in Riverside County finds signs of someone living under their house. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour, going to the 210 next.
GiveMeTheVIN.com. This summer, you can sell your car in a hot minute. Try it. Enter your VIN number and get an offer fast. If GiveMeTheVIN.com's offer cannot beat CarMax, they will pay you $100. GiveMeTheVIN.com will get you your check on the spot. Easy, fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
From the Odoo.com Weather Center, Odoo, the only business software you need. Sunny tomorrow, high 70s to the 90s. This report brought to you by Allstate. From your Toyota dealers traffic center, we make it easy, slow on the 210 in Pasadena.
Well, things are crowding up on that eastbound side, and it starts to fill in right around Mountain. Delays continue ahead all the way to Citrus. A little crowded in San Dimas around the 57, slowing ahead in Upland from Baseline all the way to the 15. Also tough on the 10 eastbound. This is loading up out of City Terrace from City Terrace Drive. You remain on the brakes and stretches all the way into Colton. And the 60 eastbound, that's pushing back, getting out of East LA from the 710 freeway. Delays are pretty tough ahead all the way towards just about Rosemead Boulevard. And then ahead as you make your way out of Hacienda Heights and stretches to the 57 in Diamond Bar. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Every day, Californians work hard to build a better future. They deserve leaders who work just as hard for them, not for special interests. In the Assembly, Juan Carrillo is delivering solutions for the high desert, building more affordable housing, investing in good-paying jobs, and lowering costs for hardworking families. Because California deserves problem solvers who deliver real solutions on the issues that matter most. Paid for by Grow California.
Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com.
Oh, bent tie rod. What are you going to do?
I'm way ahead of you. I'll be on RockAuto.com before you can even finish this commercial.
He's right. RockAuto.com. Parts when you need them.
All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
Hey, it's Conway here for Cars for Kids. We've donated 2 vehicles to Cars for Kids, and man, was it easy. Cars for Kids has been around for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. I recently saw firsthand one of their summer programs going on right now where they have over 1,400 kids. I saw hundreds of kids in the camp, and they couldn't thank Cars for Kids enough for making this incredible opportunity possible. So when you donate a car, you're helping real kids thrive this summer. CarsForKids.org. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K.
When you start listening to books on Audible, traffic might seem like less of an annoyance and more of an opportunity for another chapter. Audible, stories that speak to you. New members can start listening with a 30-day free trial at audible.com.
National Tell a Joke Day is coming up. I got one. Why did Rick cross the 10 freeway? To get to Morongo. I cracked myself up. And now, the top 5 reasons to visit Morongo. Number 5.
The music of No Doubt performed live by No Duh, the 20th. Poolside playback next Thursday.
Number 4.
Put the pedal to the metal. Earn 3,000 points playing your favorite slots and table games, and you're guaranteed a cash prize, free slot play, promo chips, or a gift. Fridays.
3.
We're the Fantasy Football HQ for draft parties. Book your draft party today.
And the number 2.
We're giving away a 2026 Mustang GT Fastback. Earn entries now, and you could drive off a winner the 31st.
And the number 1 reason.
It's Morongo. Good times.
Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good times.
Tim Conway Jr.
Former California State Park Superintendent Kevin Persall is accused of planting a hidden camera in the employee locker room, also accused of sending the images to other men.
What kind of relationship do you have
where he's sending you video of other guys changing. If you can give me a Chris Merrill, I'll give you a John Kobylt.
Wait, you got a Kobylt? A Kobylt? Those are incredibly rare.
How'd you get Kobylt?
Tonight, 6 to 10 on KFI AM 640.
Do you have a Savager with R2D2?
This is KFI. More stimulating talk.
Training camp is open. The countdown to kickoff is on.
And it's time to get in the game.
iHeartRadio is the official home of the NFL Podcast Network.
We're obviously incredibly excited if you just want to talk about defense.
Get the insight before it's a headline with NFL Daily with Greg Rosenthal.
Thank you to Sean McVay.
Chasing a fantasy title, the Late Round Fantasy Football Podcast helps you draft like a genius.
And hopefully it helps you guys out the most.
This
is what football sounds like.
Download the iHeartRadio app, search NFL, and press play.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Hey, it's Conway Show today after 6 p.m. You know what these ADUs are, right? It's that little sort of condo you can build in your backyard. Well, they cost about $200,000 to build. And you're not going to believe how much they increase your property value. Talk about that more and all these ADUs around Southern California today after 6 on the Conway Show.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. Moist line is Friday, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86, or use the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. Next segment, we're going to have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on replay. We talked to him yesterday. It was a surprise booking in the 5 o'clock hour, and you'll want to hear him because he held a press conference yesterday, and he's the Secretary of Health and Human Services. They cut off all the federal money to LAHSA, the big homeless agency. No more federal dollars. And he explained exactly, he called it a racket. First thing he said when he came on, he goes, this is a racket. What we've been telling you for years now. You are being ripped off, and the real victims, in addition to all of us, because it's our tax money, the real victims are all the people who are suffering from drug addiction and mental illness because they get no help. You just have these nonprofit criminals running off with all the cash. Anyway, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we're going to replay his interview coming up right after Deborah's 3:30 news. Now back to this Julie Watts report from CBS California explaining why the Trump administration cut off the money to high-speed rail. So this is great. LAHSA has been cut off. High-speed rail has been cut off. Two of the most corrupt agencies that have wasted tens of billions of dollars between them. And they've been cut off as far as federal funding is concerned. And this is one of the best things Trump has done for California. Because we are run primarily by criminals, he turns off the money supply. And there's nothing they can do. I mean, Bonta and Newsom tried to sue, and that lawsuit lasted 5 minutes. And again, if you're just joining us, one of the reasons Trump cut off the money was the federal contract says you have to use the money to buy trains. And Newsom never bought the trains. Supposed to buy 6 of them. Deadline was 2024. Trump cuts off the money. They go to a judge. They promise by 2025 they'll buy the trains. They failed to buy the trains in 2025. And then they withdrew the lawsuit because they didn't have a legal argument. If you promise the judge, hey, we'll buy the trains, and then you don't buy the trains, no money for you, you're a bunch of criminals, which is what we have here. And you listen to that video clip and just count the lies that Newsom has told over the years. Now, his wannabe successor,
Xavier Becerra,
was asked about high-speed rail, a rare appearance in front of reporters. He had not spoken to reporters in 2 solid months. They talked about high-speed rail. Listen.
high-speed rail, how do you plan on addressing the budgetary concerns and construction deadlines?
Well, we're going to fight to get our money from the federal government, first and foremost. We pay more money to the federal treasury than does any other state. We deserve to get our fair share back. our taxpayers should not be ripped off the way the Trump administration is doing. So we'll fight to get our money. And once we do, if I'm fortunate to become governor, we'll take a close look. We cannot run high-speed rail construction the way it's been done. And so we need to take a look at what's going on. If I need to overhaul it, that's what I'll do. But I do believe we need high-speed rail.
We need high-speed rail. Now, you listen to how he did a little jiu-jitsu move there. He's claiming we got to fight to get the money. That California taxpayers are being ripped off because we pay more federal tax than we get in return. We're not getting ripped off by the Trump administration. You have been ripping off federal taxpayers from all 50 states. You were attorney general here in California. I'm not aware that Xavier Becerra initiated any investigations into the high-speed rail fraud. All this is coming from the Trump administration. These investigations, these special reports. It's coming from the Trumps. Nothing from Newsom, nothing from Rob Bonta, nothing from Bonta's predecessor, Xavier Becerra. Again, a reporter immediately should have jumped in there. But the reporters, all the male reporters have had their testicles cut off. None of them will ever confront a Newsom or a Bonta or a Becerra. None of them will. What somebody should have jumped in, they should have known this and said, well, wait a second. What do you mean we're going to fight to get the money? California taxpayers are being ripped off. You're ripping everybody off with your high-speed rail boondoggle. He just spun it around. And then at the end, he says, we need high-speed rail. Who needs high-speed rail? I just read that it's going to run from outside Bakersfield to outside Merced. They did that to cut the price. They were so over budget, they said, how can we lower this budget? Okay, it won't go to downtown Merced. It won't go to downtown Bakersfield. It'll go several miles outside. Is he going to be pressed on this? All right, when we come back, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we're going to replay the interview we did with him yesterday. He Health and Human Services Secretary, cutting off Los Angeles, off federal housing money, federal homelessness money. Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
One local nonprofit is helping Eaton fire survivors rebuild and stay in their community.
Altadena Brick by Brick is launching its Bust a Move initiative. Founder Erica Warnock says they will be physically relocating donated homes to lots cleared by the Eaton fire.
The developer was going to demo this adorable house, but they wanted to donate it to a fire victim. So they called us up, and that's what we're going to do.
The first house will travel from Studio City to Altadena, where it'll be rebuilt for a third-generation resident who lost their home.
It burned down and she had no means to rebuild it.
She says moving an existing house will cost less than half the price of rebuilding from scratch. Heather Brooker, KFI News.
A family in Riverside County has found signs of someone living under their house. The couple and their 4 kids moved into the rented home in Hemet 3 months ago. They soon started hearing strange noises, the sound of doors closing and the sound of alarms. They eventually removed a board attached to a deck in the backyard and found a large basement-type room. They say they found cleaning products, a tarp, and a tube that appeared to have drugs in it. There was also a fan plugged in, showing whoever was down there had access to the home's power. ICE agents may soon get gloves that can give electric shocks. ABC's Olivia Rubin says the Department of Homeland Security is looking to spend as much as $20 million on them.
The device is called GLOVE, which stands for Generated Low Output Voltage Emitter. The gloves must directly touch a person's skin for the shock to work.
Human rights activists say it's a bad idea because the gloves can cause terrible pain. Attorney General Todd Blanche has announced an indictment of 11 people who he says were involved in a fraudulent marriage ring. He says they would match Chinese nationals to Americans and set them up in a fake marriage so they can get access to green cards.
This scheme was not a quick fly-by-night operation, but rather a years-long, multi-million-dollar cottage industry.
He says it criminally helped people who would not or legally could not otherwise become citizens of the U.S. Sailors are going overboard to avoid their extended deployment in the Middle East.
The Military Times says it's spoken to families who say loved ones are suffering from exhaustion and low morale. One woman says her husband was put on medical hold after he tried to jump overboard from the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln in the Middle East. More than 200 family members met in San Diego last week with the acting Secretary of the Navy over the sailors' mental health and a lack of supplies, food, and safety on deck. One woman said her husband sent her a message saying he hopes he doesn't wake up tomorrow. The acting secretary told the crowd another carrier is being prepped to relieve Lincoln, whose deployment was supposed to end in May, but did not say when. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
And a new study shows belly fat predicts a person's risk of heart disease more accurately than their BMI.
Researchers at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine looked at 260,000 adults over 20 years and found that waist and waist-to-hip ratio was a much better indicator to forecast both heart and brain events. They say that's because body mass index can't tell whether a person has more fat sitting right below the skin or more visceral fat, the dangerous kind that surrounds internal organs in the abdomen. Their message is that we all need to reduce our obsession with BMI and body weight. The findings are published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. Tammy Trujillo, KFI News.
We're going to head over to the 5 next.
Time to sell your home? You want to downsize maybe, or move, or you inherited a home? Whatever your reasons to sell, you call Seller's Advantage. They've been buying homes for decades. They'll buy your home as is for cash. And you don't have to worry about spending money on repairs or preparing your home to be shown or having people come in and out. You got a great offer, one that'll give you peace of mind. If it's time to sell your home, you call Seller's Advantage now for a free, no obligation offer. 888-321-AS-IS. 888-321-AS-IS. 888-321-2747 or go to sellersadvantage.com.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 01961658. Providence Realty DRE number 01915212.
Southland weather from KFI, low clouds and fog in the morning. Then sunny, highs mid-70s to low 80s, Metro LA and the high desert. It's going to be windy again in the high desert. Low to mid-80s in the valleys, low 70s at the beaches, upper 70s to low 80s inland OC, low to upper 80s and windy for the IE. Right now it's 82 in Laguna Woods and 84 in Rancho Santa Margarita. We have a car fire cleanup going on the 5 in Gorman.
You know, I'm going to change that location, Deborah. I accidentally typed Gorman. I meant Grapevine, which is a little further north of Gorman, but it's coming up on Grapevine Road. This earlier wreck and car fire appears to have been cleared out of lanes, but there was a bunch of repair work that needed to be done. So Caltrans crews have been out there near the escape ramp, and it appears that everything has just finally wrapped up, but now we're dealing with a backup that starts from before the 138. What does that mean? A 17-mile backup, and it's going to take you just about 2 hours to make your way through. It's awful. Also, we're checking out South LA, the 110 northbound before Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. A crash, it's out of lanes, but you're on the brakes getting away from Manchester Avenue. A quick check of Irvine. This is the drive on the 5, making your way northbound. Slowing down from the 133 all the way to Harbor in Anaheim. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
Help your kid excel in math and love it at brilliant.org.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
Tap into happy hour with half-price pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Let me tell you something. When you sign your insurance policy, if you run a business, for some brokers, that's the finish line. You get a handshake, they get a commission, you're done, and you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, and so do the gaps in your insurance you have all year and the risk you're taking. Here's SuperSure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, the CFO, or the HR manager, it's too complicated just to buy a policy online. SuperSure is the super agency built for you. Licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits with year-round support for you and your team. SuperSure.com. You can access tools like fine print facts, which translates your current policy into plain English so you know what's covered. And a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth and just how much insurance you really need. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. Supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges, no monthly fees. iHeartRadio is different. It's 100% free. Download the iHeartRadio app now.
Want more than just awareness for your business? An iHeartRadio Music Festival partnership can help your business drive action with sweepstakes, ticket giveaways, and more. Make your business part of the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Call 844-844-iHeart.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Monica Tam, head of brand media for DoorDash, talks about audio's connection to daily rituals.
Audio plays a really important role. There's daily rituals that you do. In all of those moments, you're able to instill a message that lingers in their head when they do have to make that decision.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Take action for your retirement. Call Golden Crest Metals, 888-447-7857.
Getting you back to your life pursuit. Hoag Orthopedic Institute. Call 1-800-919-2000.
This August, choose any 2 offers from American Vision Windows. Give them a call or visit the website today.
Handle on the news, weekday mornings at 6 on KFI.
KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. We're on from 3 to 6, and then about a half an hour after 6 o'clock, whatever you missed today, and we had a lot going on, you could hear the podcast, John Kobylt Show on demand. It's the same as the radio show. All right, let's get right to it. We've got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. coming on with us over the phone. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, in town today, along with the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Scott Turner. And we've had Mr. Turner on before. And we're going to talk to Robert Kennedy about the federal government not putting up with all the wasted money that we send to the homeless criminal operation here. Let's get Robert F. Kennedy Jr. How are you?
I'm good, John. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Tell me what your impression is of this whole homeless machine and all the billions of dollars it's spent, and everything has gotten worse in the streets. What do you think is going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been operated like a racket. And today we drove past that Ramada Inn that in 2019, it was bought for $2.5 million to serve as a homeless shelter, and there's still nobody in it. And meanwhile, we toured 2 faith-based facilities today, one of them in Los Angeles, and which is a 600-bed facility. It's the Dream Center, and it's treating 600 men and women families. It treats them at a cost of $7,000 a year, or $7,500 a year. The county gets $185,000 a year. And the people at the Dream Center leave. They leave with a job. They leave with a year of sobriety. And they leave with money in the bank. And they have a tremendous success rate. And yet the county-run facilities are just a disaster. And then, there's so much fraud in all of them. We just closed down an entire program in Minnesota because we expected to spend about $13 million a year on this program that provides housing to people with disabilities and to elderly people. The cost during the Biden administration went up to $200 million a year. And when we looked into it, the people who were running these facilities were not actually taking care of clients. They were spending the money on houses for themselves, on automobiles, fancy automobiles, and luxury items, and just stealing it. And because so much money had disappeared, we had to shut down the entire program, which shows that when the people who are stealing or committing fraud against HUD, against Medicaid, are not just stealing taxpayer money, They're stealing money from the people who desperately need help, who deserve to be able to take advantage of these programs. And they're the poorest people in our society, and that is who they're stealing from.
To justify all the money that they spend, they'll insist that the drugs and the mental illness is not the cause of the problem. They need these billions to build more housing, which, of course, never gets built or takes forever. I think they're building housing for $1 million a unit in some of these programs in L.A.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with my agency started with my predecessor, Xavier Becerra, who came into that agency. My agency, HHS, has a $2.2 trillion budget. It's twice the size of the Pentagon. When he got there were only 80 people in the agency who were doing program integrity. So that's 80 people who are there, whose job it is to make sure that none of that $2.2 trillion gets stolen every year. And we do 4 million transactions a day, just in Medicaid.
4 million, he said. Let's see if you can reconnect.
We did 76 of them. So that when I came in, there was literally only 6 people in the entire agency doing program integrity. And that just gave permission to the fraudsters all across the country to cheat. And, we've now closed down 8,000 hospices in Los Angeles. How do these are, hospices are these facilities that are supposed to take care of people at the end of their lives. The way that we found out they were committing fraud is that none of the people in them were ever dying. The patients typically in a hospice last about 3 months. These people were living forever. And when we went down, we closed 5,000 of them down, and there was no complaints. So nobody called because they were just operations. They didn't have patients. They had patient numbers, and they were charging my agency $6,000 a month for every one of these patients. And it all happened because Xavier Becerra took the gatekeepers out of my agency. He also implemented a system called pay and chase. So, John, when invoices come into my agency from doctors, from hospitals, from hospices, from durable medical equipment sales, who say, okay, we just sold some equipment to you, to a Medicaid patient. Here's the bill, pay it. We know that a lot of those are fraudulent, and a lot of them we can tell when they get to our agency that they are highly likely to be fraudulent claims. If there's one claim from one doctor for $5 million for durable medical equipment in a 6-week period, we know it's got to be fraudulent. You couldn't see that many patients. So there's ways that most of this can be detected before you pay. Becerra changed the rule so that the policy, so that every invoice that comes into the agency gets paid. And then when you find out that it's fraudulent, you chase it and claw the money back, which of course never happens. So all of these systems were just completely dismantled. These systems for program integrity, for fraud detection, were dismantled when he was in there. And now we're living with the fallout from that. We're living with hundreds of billions of dollars being stolen from the American people every single year.
Why would he do that? Why would he dismantle all the infrastructure that had been built up forever to catch fraud?
Well, I asked people the careers at the agency, the people who were here during the Democratic administration, and they said that when he came in and they complained and said, hey, we're being raked over the coals like fraud, he told them, we don't do fraud detection anymore. I want you to focus on enrollments. In other words, signing up as many people as possible for these programs and signing up people who, including people who could not legally get the program, people who are undocumented. aliens, people who were already enrolled in Medicare and Medicaid in another state, people who were enrolled in Obamacare, people who had $1 million home, they're not supposed to be getting Medicaid money. And so they were focused on all of the energy was directed toward enrolling as many people as possible into these programs. And none of it was directed toward fraud detection.
So he didn't care how much money was getting flushed away, just as long as the enrollment numbers were bulked up.
Exactly. I mean, I can't look into his head. I can only tell you what I know, which is the fraud detection apparatus of my agency was completely dismantled.
Great. And Becerra's leading by 25 points for governor now. This is what we're going to look forward to in California here for the next 4 years if he wins. Speaking of the governor, how much of this should have been stopped by Newsom or county officials or LA city officials? How much of it is it their responsibility?
Well, it's their responsibility, but they have very little incentive to do anything because the federal government for now, during Obamacare, the rule was changed when they did the Medicaid expansion. So that instead of paying, 50 or 60% of Medicaid, the federal government, which is supposed to pay 50 or 60%, the state pays 40 or 50. Under the Medicaid expansion, the federal government pays 90%. So, they're seeing all these federal dollars pour into the state. And at some point you say, hey, we don't really care if this is being stolen. We're getting so much money in the state and it's coming from the federal government. If we don't take it, some other state will. So let's not look too carefully at the transactions. So I think the temptation to just, not block this huge flow of federal dollars into the state of California blinded them to what they should do. That was right. And, John, our system of government was all of these regulatory programs, these entitlement programs are based on the assumption that people are generally pretty honest. And nobody is out there trying to steal, that people are going to behave honestly. Well, something's broken down now in our system where that's no longer true. And, if you leave the gate door, the lock open, people are going to come in and steal. And that is what happened. It was predictable. And, it's terrible for our country. It's just terrible.
I understand you have to go. I want to thank you for coming on, and I hope you can come on again and talk more about this because this is one of the biggest issues that's killing the state.
Yeah. All right. Good to talk to you, John.
Good to talk with you. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. And we'll have more. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. Quake in Colombia climbs above 100, and stenographer. That was old sound, not from me playing that right now. Anyway, here is the latest. The new grand jury indictment alleges Nick Reiner laid in wait for killing his parents. And LA Mayor Bass and others have authored legislation in the aftermath of the Lineage Logistics warehouse fire in Boyle Heights. We'll have more at the top of the hour. We're going to the 101 next.
There were two Debras there. Two Debras.
Two, I know. You don't get enough of me?
I know. I
How do you think I felt?
I thought I was having a stroke. Like
Me too.
Sound kept going out. It's
I
know. Listen to this. That's not the sound going out. That is the sound of my phone. My phone makes very little noise. In fact, no noise for vast stretches. I don't get spam calls or spam texts. And I love the silence. Your phone probably is going off all the time because data brokers are selling your private information like it's on clearance. Your phone number, home address, email, family members, political affiliations, where you bank. So you're getting all these scam calls and scam texts. They bought your information, and they're going to keep buying it over and over until you make it stop. I made it stop with the help of Incogni. Incogni, Incogni. automatically removes your personal information from hundreds of data brokers and people search sites. Incogni sends the legal removal requests, and then they follow up and keep following up, so your information stays off those lists. And if the scammers can't find you, they can't target you. Get 60% off right now at incogni.com/KFI. That's incogni.com/KFI.
From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy, slow on the 101 in Calabasas.
So we're looking at the southbound side, and it's just a tough drive this afternoon. I'm seeing a backup away from Lost Hills, actually getting a little closer towards Liberty Canyon out of Agora Hills. That drive is tough all the way to the 170, 134 split, and then ahead in Hollywood from Sunset into downtown Los Angeles. Some good news for Grapevine. This is the 5 northbound coming up on Grapevine Road. And right over by the escape ramp there was an earlier crash, led to a car fire. A lot of cleanup, a lot of repair work happening. Now I'm seeing travel rolling through where they had all lanes blocked off for a little bit. Big delays, however, still served up from before Highway 138. It's going to take you about 2 hours to roll through. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank. Most banks give you a call center. Infinity Bank gives you the president, Victor Guerrero. He'll speak directly to you, and you could open up a new account. I did with Victor. Call 657-223-1000, infinity.bank.
This is NFL quarterback Rodney Peete, and here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Lowe's.
Russell Westbrook is retiring from the NBA. He played 18 seasons. Among his highlights, winning the 2017 MVP award. Rory McIlroy says he's confident he'll come up with a compromise to keep his PGA Tour card, despite not fulfilling the minimum qualification of playing in 15 events. Jay Lucas, the University of Miami head basketball coach, has been given a 5-year extension. I'm Frank Aaron.
Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list written on a sticky note or saved on a photo? Perfect. Bring it in and get a quote in minutes. Plus, access thousands of products beyond what's in store or on Lowe's.com. Right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate. Why make things harder than they need to be? There's a better way to save time and money. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
As the experts in transmissions for over 50 years, there's nothing at AMCO we haven't heard.
So when I hit the gas, it's just a belt.
And nothing we can't fix.
It's going. What's that?
From transmissions to brakes and everything in between. No credit? Finance your repair at AMCO.
Exclusions apply, may not be combined with any other offer. Limited time offer, participating centers only.
People who know go to AMCO. AA MCO.
Call 1-800-GO-AMCO today.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorney.
Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
I'm worth more.
You bet I'm worth more.
I'm worth a little more.
We completely agree. At GiveMeTheVIN.com, you are worth more, and your car's worth more. And we want to pay more for good cars that give me the VIN, because they are worth more, and so are you. And remember, if we don't beat a deal from Carvana or CarMax, we'll pay you $100. For top price, trust, and ease of transaction, GiveMeTheVIN.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
After an accident, one question comes to mind. What happens next? Wilshire Law Firm brings clarity when things feel uncertain. While you focus on healing, we fight for the compensation you deserve. That's what happens next. Call now. 1-800-ABCDEFG. Wilshire Law Firm is in LA.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Heartburn. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Because nothing is worse than heartburn after a long day. When you're finally off the clock, dinner's done, feet kicked up, kids asleep, and boom, heartburn tries to steal the moment. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Because nothing works faster for heartburn relief. The effervescent tablets start neutralizing acid in seconds, so you can sit back, relax, and unwind from your day. Next time heartburn hits,
Quick, Alka-Seltzer.
use as directed.
Silver is no longer just a commodity, it's a strategic resource. Global demand is hitting record highs while supply remains tight. Visit LearCapital.com for your free silver report. That's LearCapital.com. LearCapital.com.
If you haven't had a termite inspection in the last 3 years, don't wait for costly damage. Call Pacific Coast Termite for a free termite inspection from a licensed technician. If you have termite activity, we have the right treatment. No tent, no poisonous gas, no move out. Orange oil treatment will have minimal disruption at home with tenants or your business. Get 10% off, a 2-year warranty, and 90 days same as cash. OAC, serving all of SoCal. Call 800-PACIFIC, PacificCoastTermite.com. Some restrictions apply.
Gary and Shannon. You made a pledge to be in the world of nonprofit, but you've been living in Hawaii for more than a decade, making several $100,000 a year.
You're doing nothing.
Now, there is
It's all legal. It's just all so dirty.
Right.
Tomorrow morning at 9 on KFI AM 640.
They're all hookers, they're all thieves, and they're all in bed together, playing around in the mud.
I think it's interesting that you chose the term hooker this time.
What do I usually say?
More stimulating talk. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. Just got a minute or so because we were playing a long interview we did with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. yesterday. He announced at a press conference here in L.A., and I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
You could have turned off your mic.
I don't think I could sneeze and turn off my mic at the same time. I told you I can't do two things at once.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. Where was I before I interrupted myself?
You said you have only a minute because of your long interview.
That's right. Now I have half a minute.
Sorry.
Robert Kennedy was on. He's cut off the money from the federal government to the homeless criminals at LASA. And coming up in the next segment, we are going to talk to Lisa Lange, a vice president with PETA, because one thing Bass has done nothing about is clean up Skid Row and stop all the murders and all the torture of dogs and the drug experiments on dogs, which we've chronicled quite a bit. And I was wondering what has PETA been doing about it, because if they were doing anything, it really was low key. So they took offense, and Lisa Lange is coming on the show right after 4 o'clock. But Karen Bass announced today that she's, and this was one of these press releases, which sounds like she's going to do something, and I don't know if she will, but it's about enforcing the law on Skid Row with the police and stopping all the animal abuse. So we'll talk with Lisa Lange about that as well. And that's all I had. Now, Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
New allegation. I'm Deborah Mark, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A new grand jury indictment alleges Nick Reiner laid in wait before killing his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. The indictment includes special circumstance allegations of multiple murders, along with an allegation he used a knife. Reiner pleaded not guilty today and is being held in jail without bail. He's charged with killing his parents in their home in Brentwood last December. Things are back to normal at Fullerton Airport, where a large fire briefly caused a suspension of flights. The fire started around 12:30 this afternoon at an industrial building near Commonwealth and Magnolia Avenues. No injuries reported. LA Mayor Bass has teamed up with Assemblyman Mark Gonzalez and Senator Maria Elena Durazo to author legislation in the aftermath of the Lineage Logistics Warehouse in Boyle Heights. Gonzalez says the Assembly bill is aimed at helping people who are directly affected by things like the fire.
Because if you're going to operate in a community, you have a responsibility to that community. And if something goes wrong, the community should not have to beg for the resources just to survive it.
Lineage Logistics says the cleanup is more than 90% done, and it has spent more than $3 million on cleaning up the site and sanitizing the air.
Reality and history is just a pain. By
And more kids across Southern California are back at school today, including kids in the LA school district. Students in LA have gone back with new rules in place to reduce screen time. The use of digital devices will be eliminated for students in early education, transitional kindergarten, and first grade. The amount of allowed screen time will gradually increase starting in second grade. A Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department task force has arrested several people and recovered stolen merchandise as part of an investigation into international theft rings. A man and a woman were arrested in MacArthur Park, while another guy was arrested in Temple City. 3 other people, detectives say, were with a South American-based crew, were picked up in LA and Orange counties. Authorities say Lululemon, Alo, Target, TJ Maxx, and Macy's were all targeted by the thieves. The latest incident with the embattled Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority has prompted LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger to call its incompetence baffling.
LASA blamed an accounting glitch for nearly half of the increase in the city's homeless count. Barger says the homeless count isn't a perfect science.
But the fact that LASA can't get their act together once again confirms why I am so glad that we pulled our money out.
LASA recently lost county funding that was more than a third of its budget.
I sat on that board. I saw firsthand the incompetence coming out of that organization. There's no checks and balances. They do not properly audit some of the agencies that are getting the money, and we found that out. And so, once again, here they go again.
Mark Ronner, KFI News.
This is a horrific, tragic situation for any community.
2 adults and a child have been killed at a home daycare in Minnesota. Cops were called to the home in Hopkins this morning by a parent dropping off a child. Chief Brent Johnson says it appears the 3 victims are related. The deaths have been reported as a stabbing, but Johnson did not confirm that.
We are still trying to determine the weapons involved, and we'll release that at a later date.
He did say the man found dead is believed to be the attacker. Other kids were inside the daycare and were safely reunited with their families. A federal hearing has been set for Friday for the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan.
Lawyers for Luigi Mangione and prosecutors have not commented on the matter, but legal experts say the last-minute scheduled federal conference could mean the 2 sides are trying to work out a deal. If a federal plea agreement is reached, that would mean New York state charges against Mangione would be tossed. Mangione was in state court Tuesday, where a judge approved an overflow room with huge crowds expected for the state trial scheduled to start next month. Scott Pringle, KFI News.
The World Health Organization says the Ebola outbreak in the Congo is on track to become the worst in history. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus says the Ebola outbreak is moving faster than any previous one.
It's already the second biggest Ebola epidemic on record, and it's moving faster than any previous Ebola outbreak.
And a biologist is testing the negative stereotypes of Gen Z.
25-year-old Pilar Ferrer has developed an injectable gel that can help the heart repair itself after a heart attack. Ferrer, who's also a PhD student in Buenos Aires, began her research in 2024. The hydrogel, based on placenta amniotic membrane, used in other regenerative therapies, was tested on sheep because of the heart's similarity to humans. The drug decreased the scar or tissue damage from a heart attack, which improved heart pump function by providing a scaffold for cardiac cells to grow. Ferrer says the project grew from her doctoral thesis. A human clinical trial is expected to start in 2028. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
Going to the 91 next.
Inheriting a home can be overwhelming. You've got repairs. You got the time it takes to get everything ready to sell. Feels like more trouble than it's worth. So go to Seller's Advantage. Here's a quote from a real customer. We had an inheritance from a relative, and it would have taken us a lot of time, money, and headaches to get the property in shape to sell. I heard about Seller's Advantage from radio commercials. And I gave them a try. Their offer was reasonable, and we accepted it. And they took care of all the physical effort and legal complexities. We closed within 3 weeks. Call Seller's Advantage, no matter what the reason. Call 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747, sellersadvantage.com for no obligation cash offer.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRA number 0196168, Providence Realty DRA number 01915212.
Southland weather from KFI, low clouds and fog in the morning, then sunny, highs mid-70s to low 80s, metro LA and the high desert, windy in the high desert, low to mid-80s in the valleys, Low 70s for the beaches, upper 70s to low 80s inland OC, low to upper 80s and windy in the IE. Right now, 81 in Tustin, 72 Laguna Beach, 88 in Chatsworth, it's 87 in Van Nuys. The KFI Financial Update brought to you by Supersure. Supersure.com, one super agency, one powerful platform, all your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed down 22, S&P 500 up 20, and NASDAQ up 143. Slow on the 91 in Carson.
It's that eastbound side, and delays are backing up away from the 110 freeway. It's looking pretty slow all the way to Pioneer Boulevard. Beyond, you have a decent opening to the 5, but then you're on the brakes and stretches all the way to Green River and Corona. Also tough as you make your way through Rubidoux, eastbound side of the 60. This is slowing down at Rubidoux Boulevard. Delays and stretches all the way to Day Street in Moreno Valley. It's tough into the Cajon Pass, 15 northbound, crowding up at Kenwood to the 138, and all lanes now open in Grapevine. This is the 5 northbound coming up on Grapevine Road. Scene of an earlier crash and then a bunch of repair work that needed to be done, but the drive is just a nightmare. You're backing up from before Highway 138. It's going to just under 2 hours to make your way through. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Free shouldn't come with a catch. With iHeartRadio, it doesn't. No monthly fees, no trial periods. Radio, music, podcasts. Download the free iHeartRadio app now.
Termites are one of those things we tend to put off. E. coli is here to protect your most expensive investment, your home, your family, and the environment. You might have heard of Sue Freeze, the termite lady. She's the owner of E. coli Termite and Pest Control. Now, they've been protecting Southern California homes for more than 40 years. So if you have a termite problem, that's who you want in your corner. E. coli offers eco-friendly treatments that are tough on termites, but gentle on kids, pets, and anyone who's sensitive to chemicals. And if you're not planning on selling your house, they'll come out and inspect your home for free. And with all the heat we've had over this last month here in Southern California, it's perfect breeding grounds for termites. E. coli has been recognized as one of the top pest control companies in North America by Pest Control Technology magazine. So if you suspect a termite problem, you must act fast. So call E. coli at 1-800-332-BUGS. 1-800-332-2847. 1-800-332-BUGS.
Tap into happy hour with half-priced pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Want more than just awareness for your business? An iHeartMedia partnership can help drive action through sweepstakes, ticket giveaways, listener contesting, and local media. Attach your business to high-energy music moments built to grow awareness, engagement, and leads. Get started at iHeartAdvertising.com.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena.
Stream it live on Disney Plus and Hulu. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way to be there.
Turn up the style with Burlington. Shop the brands you love and the looks you want without the high prices. From festival-ready fits to everyday favorites, it's never been easier to look good and save big. Burlington, where great style meets even better deals.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk radio, the John Kobylt Show. Good that you're here. We're on from 3 to 6. After 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on Demand. That's the podcast, and you get to listen to what you missed. And we're live on YouTube. We're live on X. Subscribe and become a member. YouTube.com/@John Kobylt Show. And what else? Does that cover everything? Okay.
Live stream Thursday.
Live stream on Thursday, which is tomorrow. Okay. We're going to do a special live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. And you ought to tune in because we only have 1 hour on the radio tomorrow because the Los Angeles Chargers' first preseason game is being broadcast on KFI at coverage begins at 4 o'clock. I'm waiting for the reaction from.
Woohoo.
Okay. Anyway, we only have an hour. So we're doing a second hour on the live stream at 11. Now let's get Lisa Lange on here. Lisa Lange is with PETA. And we've discussed PETA from time to time, one of Deborah's favorite organizations. They're obviously into animal rights, and they do some really spectacular news-grabbing stunts to try to alert the world to all the animals being eaten or abused or otherwise harmed. But I thought they were not loud enough recently. If I didn't hear anything, to be honest with you, on the Skid Row situation, where we've been chronicling just how many dogs are not only being bred, bought, sold, but tortured, experimented on with drugs, and murdered, left to die out in the hot sun. And, well, PETA got a little upset with what I was saying. And so we're going to talk to the Senior Vice President, Lisa Lange. She is Senior Vice President of Communications. She has devised some of the stunts, some of the commercials that's gotten a lot of interest from the world. Lisa, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, John?
I'm good. So you don't think I was being fair the other day when I said you guys haven't been doing anything?
No, because it's not true. But I'm glad you have me on today to be able to talk a little bit more about, what we've been doing that actually predates the recent attention on Skid Row. And we can get to that if you want. But first and foremost, for your listeners, what's happening on Skid Row is illegal. And there is no excuse for the current administration to not do anything. We have a very good spay-neuter ordinance in Los Angeles that was passed in 2008, which requires every cat and dog to be spayed or neutered unless you have a breeder's license. And you can't get a breeder's license right now because a moratorium was passed on those a couple of years ago. If LA Animal Service shelters are 75% full or above, they do not issue breeder's license. So every single litter of puppies that is being bred on Skid Row right now is an illegal litter. Why are they there? Why is LA Animal Services, LAPD, the mayor's office not going in there and at the very least, confiscating those puppies?
Have you contacted Bass and all these agencies? And what was their response?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, to go back a little bit, when Bass was elected, we, meaning myself and a colleague of mine who has vast shelter experience and is also the head of our cruelty division, met with her office several times. And we put forward what we believe is the best way forward for Los Angeles to get out of this homeless animal crisis. And I mean, we sent them so much information. We offered to send our experts out and tour every single shelter to give them, hands-on advice on what to do. They turned us down on that, and then they went in a completely different direction. And I will tell you, John, that I lay a lot of the responsibility for the current crisis we're in, and I think Joey Tuccio and Shira, they'll all tell you the same, on this crazy push towards becoming a quote-unquote no-kill city. Because what happened, if I may, and I'll just take a second, several years ago during Garcetti's tenure, a large animal welfare organization came in and told Garcetti, hey, let us embed in your shelters and we'll make your city, quote unquote, no kill. And what that means is that 90% of the animals in shelters will live. They call it a save rate. Only 10% will be euthanized. And of course, the mayor then and the mayor now went crazy for that. What city doesn't love the idea of putting out a sexy news release that says Los Angeles is no kill? But what they failed to do, and what we told them over and over and over again, is the work. The only way you can become a no-kill city is becoming a no-birth city. You can't just skip ahead and say, okay, great, because we're going to be no-kill. Because the only way to do that quickly is to turn animals away, which is what they started doing. You will find actual cat colonies breeding in front of some of the LA Animal Service shelters because they're turning cats who are intact, males who are breeding, females who are breeding, turning them away, and they're breeding literally right in front of the shelter. And there are volunteers who are trying to feed them, trying to get them fixed, and that is criminal. I mean, that is literally criminal.
Why didn't the Bass people respond positively and take you up on your offer?
I think it's easier to ignore the problem. That's going to be my guess. I mean, they had the meetings with us. We offered such good advice, in my humble opinion, and they went in another direction. And, they continue to go along with groups like Best Friends and the ASPCA, who, by the way, both of those organizations just donated each $7 million to the city. But when you talk to local activists and you ask them, are you happy with this donation of $14 million to a person? They will tell you no, because very little, if any, of that money is going to prevention. And prevention means mandatory enforced spay neuter.
What you're saying makes sense. You have to reduce the supply because you're never going to have a market to buy all these cats and dogs. There's just not enough people who can do that. So you have to reduce the supply, stop the breeding, spay and neutering. That's so obvious. It doesn't seem to be even debatable.
Right.
So,
no, it isn't. The thing of it is, if there's a will, there's a way. And we said that to Garcetti. We said that to the former LA Animal Services leader. We said it to the current one. We said it to the mayor. You must just not want to do anything about it because you can do it. If the mayor wanted to solve the Skid Row crisis, and Skid Row is kind of a really awful microcosm of what's going on across the city. But if you wanted to solve the animal issue, now the homeless human issue is massive, incredibly sad. We need to do something about that. But you and I are talking about the animals right now.
Yeah, we're talking about the animals. So why don't they simply have the police, for starters, enforce the law, what you said at the beginning?
Yeah, good question. And we've posed that. And she talks about this task force that she put together. She keeps going on. Well, she doesn't keep going on, but she's gone on Instagram, for example, to say, I put together a task force and they've gone to Skid Row. Who cares about a task force if they're not doing anything? Where are the animals who are being removed? Where are the arrests? And I have to believe, and what we have said to her is, it doesn't matter who the perpetrator is. We have cruelty to animals laws. We not only have to enforce the spay-neuter law, but we have to vigorously enforce the laws that exist now that protect animals from being drugged, left out in the sun, killed in other ways, left to roam so they're hit by cars. All that cruelty that's happening, we have a law that can stop it. She could tell the LAPD right now, and any task force that she is assigned, I want you to go in and I want you to enforce the cruelty law. But I do believe that she tiptoes because we're talking about a homeless population of people here.
The bottom line. Can you stay another segment?
Sure.
Yeah, because she had an announcement today that you probably saw, and I want to read a small piece of it, and you can tell me if you believe a word of it. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI. Oh, this is Lisa Lange, and she is the Vice President of Communications with PETA. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. Nick Reiner has been indicted in court on murder charges for killing his parents, and ICE agents may soon get gloves that can give electric shocks. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour. We are going to go to the freeways next.
Infinity Bank. Most banks give you a call center. Infinity Bank gives you the president, Victor Guerrero. He'll speak directly to you. You can open an account with him. Call 657-223-1000. I opened an account, infinity.bank.
From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. Crash on the 91 in Anaheim Hills.
This one's on the eastbound side, and it's coming up at Gypsum Canyon. That's where these guys should be out of lanes to the right shoulder. But the drive is going to be pretty tough, pushing back overall from about the 5 freeway. We're also checking out Glendora. Crash 210 eastbound before Grand. Second lane from the left is where it landed. Delays from Irwindale Avenue and Harupa Valley. This is the 15 southbound coming up on Limonite. That is a wreck in the 2 left lanes. You're on the brakes leaving the 10 with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, you need attorneys that listen, care, and stand up for you. And that's why you call the attorneys at Sweet James. They have the reputation that puts power and respect on your side so you can focus on recovering. If you're hurt in a crash, call Sweet James. They have an office in Los Angeles, 1-800-9-MILLION, or go to sweetjames.com.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-MILLION. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorneys.
Thinking about upgrading your sleep? Now is the time to shop Sleep Number. Trusted by millions for nearly 40 years, Sleep Number offers superior comfort, personalized adjustability, temperature benefits, and value that is unmatched in the industry. And right now, during the Sleep Number Labor Day sale, all mattresses are on sale. Invest in your sleep and experience firsthand Sleep Number's personalized comfort. Stop by a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com to learn more.
This is Sarah Spain with the latest from iHeart Women's Sports, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Portland Thorns and U.S. women's national soccer team midfielder Olivia Moultrie has been ruled out for the rest of the NWSL season with an ACL injury suffered in training last week. For Spot Rack's Taylor Vincent, that makes 18 season-ending injuries so far in the NWSL, 10 of them explicitly stated as ACL injuries. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on a Heart Podcast.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
This report is sponsored by Staples. All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
Hey, it's Conway here for Cars for Kids. We've donated 2 vehicles to Cars for Kids, and man, was it easy. Cars for Kids has been around for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. I recently saw firsthand one of their summer programs going on right now where they have over 1,400 kids. I saw hundreds of kids in the camp, and they couldn't thank Cars for Kids enough for making this incredible opportunity possible. So when you donate a car, you're helping real kids thrive this summer. CarsForKids.org. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
After a major accident, one question comes to mind. What happens next? That's where Wilshire Law Firm comes in. With over 100 attorneys, we've helped recover more than $3 billion for our clients. Let the firm that's been recognized as #1 in personal injury settlements fight for the compensation you deserve. That's what happens next. For a free consultation 24/7, call Wilshire Law Firm, 1-800-ABCDEFG. Wilshire Law Firm won more top 100 personal injury settlements in 2024 than any other law firm in California, as reported by TopVerdict.com. Wilshire Law Firm is in LA.
When you start listening to books on Audible, traffic might seem like less of an annoyance and more of an opportunity for another chapter. Audible, stories that speak to you. New members can start listening with a 30-day free trial at audible.com.
Every day, Californians work hard to build a better future. They deserve leaders who work just as hard for them, not for special interests. In the Assembly, Juan Carrillo is delivering solutions for the high desert, building more affordable housing, investing in good-paying jobs, and lowering costs for hardworking families. Because California deserves problem solvers who deliver real solutions on the issues that matter most. Paid for by Grow California.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen Kay is a brand new podcast. Heartbreak, hope, and a whole lot of what would you do? Stream now on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Training camp is open. The countdown to kickoff is on.
And it's time to get in the game.
iHeartRadio is the official home of the NFL Podcast Network.
We're obviously incredibly excited if you just want to talk about defense.
Get the insight before it's a headline with NFL Daily with Greg Rosenthal.
Thank you to Sean McVay.
Chasing the fantasy title, the Late Round Fantasy Football Podcast helps you draft like a genius.
And hopefully it helps you guys out the most.
This
is what football sounds like.
Download the iHeartRadio app, search NFL, and press play.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. John Kobylt Show, and we're going to continue talking with Lisa Lange. She's Vice President of Communications with PETA. And we're having her on because I want to know where PETA's been with all this, all these dog murders and dog torture and dog abuse going on at Skid Row. Lisa, I want to just circle back to originally what I was upset about. You may be having meetings and you may be describing these issues correctly, but having been aware of PETA for decades, I know what the organization is capable of. And it looks like to me that your organization's been pulling its punches. And I suspect it's because it involves homeless people. I saw the environmental groups do exactly this when we couldn't get anybody to clean up the Bayona wetlands when that was getting fouled. You couldn't get the Sierra Club within 10 miles of doing anything or, holding a protest or having a big press conference or doing a crazy stunt. None of the environmental groups weighed in on the Bayona wetlands being ruined. I get the same sense, whether it's your group or the other groups you mentioned. Nobody's really made a big public stink, because with all the stuff I read, and Deborah here is a very passionate animal rights advocate, and she wasn't aware either of you guys doing anything. So how are we missing it if you're doing so much?
I don't know. I mean, I know you have Joey on a lot. I know you've talked to Shira. Ask them, because we're right there with them. I mean, they're leading the charge. I will not take that away from them, because Joey, man.
I know, but you're the most famous group, animal rights group in America. You got a big organizations here in LA. I don't see any public stink that you're making that the whole world would notice, because your organization has been very good at that for decades. And I don't see anything directed at Karen Bass and the administration.
Oh my goodness. And I think from an earlier show, you don't think that advertisements work, but when you're a politician, they do. We ran a full page ad in the Sunday Times on July 26th, aiming, targeting her.
But people don't even read newspapers anymore.
That's not true on Sunday. But the ad, of course, we sent that to the press, or put on the ad, and then we took that same ad and we put it on decals all over the city, because some people don't read the paper, so they'll see that there. That's not all we've done.
Okay.
We've also
granted you ran ads and you got decals. She hasn't moved an inch. She hasn't done anything.
No.
Why is it? You've been very effective in the past. Why so ineffective now on this?
You tell me. I mean, we're doing all we can, as are the other activists on the ground. And I think she thinks that she can just ignore it. And I do think it's not only up to us, it's not only up to the activists who are going to Skid Row every week, but your listeners have to realize that we need to hold her feet to the fire. This is what she cares about. She wants to be seen as a leader. She wants to continue to be mayor in Los Angeles. Whoever's running for mayor, whoever's running for any state seats, who's running for the president, it's up to all of us to tell them, here's what's important to me. You have failed the animals in Los Angeles, and therefore I reject you as a leader of the city, no matter who it is. And I'm not telling people how to vote, but that's what matters to her. And bad press, which we have done a lot of getting her bad press. Take, for example, back during the fires, which I'm sure you remember well, a year and a half ago, people were not allowed to go back and get their animals. There were rescue groups, and we were connected with them, who were trying to get into the fire zones, get their animals out. They were trying to assist people everywhere all over the city. The way that administration, Bass's administration, responded to that fire was shameful at best. And what we did there, what we do very well, is we can put pressure on through action alerts, through protests. Does it work 100% of the time? No. If our tactics worked 100% of the time, we would be a lot further along on all of the issues that we address. We are constantly trying to think of ways to get her to change and to get it's not just Bass, it's LA Animal Services. I will tell you, John, several years ago, a friend of mine with friends of hers witnessed a homeless person in the valley beating the crap out of his dog. They ran over, stopped it, grabbed the dog, called the police. Dog was confiscated, taken to LA Animal Services. And the owner of that dog fought to get the dog back. So we went to LA Animal Services, did an action alert. All of it said, you cannot return this dog to that abuser. The head of LA Animal Services at the time said, Lisa, you need to understand homeless people have rights too. To which I said, yes, I won't.
No, they don't have the right to murder and abuse and experiment dogs.
That's right. They don't have the right to abuse dogs. Nobody does. They don't have special compensation because they're homeless. You don't have it if you're a young person, an old person. You don't have it if you're a homeless person. The law exists.
So when they said that, and I only have another minute here, when they said that, how did you respond, or your colleagues respond to that? I mean, that's the most absurd thing imaginable.
Exactly as I said, I told her, they don't have the right to abuse animals. I will let you know that dog never went back to the abuser, was rescued by somebody else. So we did win that one. But I thought, you're the head of LA Animal Services. Your number one concern needs to be the animals. Other people will deal and work with and try to help homeless people, and they should, and we should as a society. No doubt there. No argument there.
All right,
but
quickly.
We're talking about animals right now.
Quickly. Today, she had a press release announcing that Animal Services, LAPD are going to be investigating all the animal cruelty and abuse on Skid Row. She's got a long list of bullet points. Do you believe it?
I don't know. The proof will be in the pudding. She said this before, and it hasn't. I would love for it to happen. I don't mean to be a total naysayer, because one day someone's going to do it. I would love for it to be her right now, but so far it hasn't happened. But I hope it does.
It just seems that they hold homeless people to be so sacred that even if they're killing dogs in plain sight, in daylight, they still won't enforce the law against them.
Yeah, that is what is happening. And I do believe that's the motivation. I think she also probably fears, homeless advocacy organizations coming at her after her hard. I don't know. I can't say.
Oh, no, they do. I know. Yeah. I know on very good authority that everybody at City Hall is terrified of the homeless rights organizations. I'm just saying, and then I do have to go, is you and the other animal organizations need to be just as intimidating. They ought to need to fear you as much as they fear the homeless advocates, because those guys are crazy and they have way too much power, and it's causing a lot of animal death and suffering.
Well, I can't disagree with you. I don't even understand why. I mean, why a homeless advocacy organization, and I haven't heard any of them say this, but you can separate the two. You can want the best for homeless people, and whatever that is, depending on their state, but also not want animals to be abused. I mean, there are people living on Skid Row who are not abusing dogs, who have been helping the activists down there, who are willing to have their animals spayed or neutered, for example. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the ones who are abusing and who are breeding. This is a solvable issue. And really, the only people who should be involved in that are LA Animal Services, the LAPD, and the mayor's office should give them the marching orders. Go in and take care of it tomorrow.
Lisa, I'd like to talk more with you about this down the road, but I got to do the news now. Thank you for coming on.
Okay. Thank you.
Lisa Lange with PETA. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Nick Reiner has been indicted in court on murder charges for killing his parents, Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife, at their home in Brentwood.
Nick Reiner has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of murder with a special circumstance allegation that he committed the murders by means of lying in wait. LA District Attorney Nathan Hochman says it was a profound betrayal by someone who was loved and trusted by the very people he's accused of killing. Reiner faces either death or life in state prison without the possibility of parole. He's being held without bail. A pretrial hearing is scheduled for September 15th. Eileen Gonzalez, KFI News.
Jury selection is underway in the latest trial over claims that Meta, owner of Instagram and Facebook, designed its apps to be addictive to young kids. ABC's Alex Stone says this trial is in Oakland and centers on a lawsuit filed by dozens of state attorneys general.
The lawsuit claims Meta has harnessed powerful and unprecedented technology to entice, engage, and ensnare children, to get kids addicted to their social media platforms, and that it's all harmed their mental health.
Meta says it strongly disagrees with the allegations. A 9th grader has shot a fellow student on the first day of school in Atlanta. Houston County Sheriff Matt Moulton says the boy who did the shooting is in custody.
There was a group of students inside the bathroom, and a verbal altercation quickly escalated into a physical altercation, and the firearm was brandished by one of the students, and he shot another student.
The student who was shot is being treated in the hospital. ICE is planning to give officers gloves that can deliver painful electric shocks to combative people to get them to follow orders. A notice published yesterday by the Department of Homeland Security says ICE plans to spend up to $20 million to buy thousands of conductive, distraction, and de-escalation devices for officers and agents by March. The devices are known as the GLOVE. It stands for Generated Low Output Voltage Emitter. They've been used in recent years by some jails and police departments. We're going to go to the 134 next.
Let me tell you something. You run a business, if you sign an insurance policy, the broker, that's the finish line for him. You have a handshake, they get a commission, you're done, and you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, and you have the gaps in insurance all year. You're taking the risk all year. Super Sure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, the CFO, or the HR manager, the whole thing's too complicated just to buy a policy online. Super Sure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, access tools like fine print facts, which translates your current policy into plain English so you can see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know exactly what needs protecting. Supersure.com, one super agency, one powerful platform. Supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Southland weather from KFI, low clouds and fog in the morning, then sunny, highs mid-70s to low 80s. Metro LA and the high desert, windy in the high desert, low to mid-80s in the valleys, low 70s for the beaches, upper 70s to low 80s. Inland OC, low to upper 80s and windy in the IE. Right now, 79 in San Juan Capistrano and 86 in Staten. Crash on the 134 Griffith Park.
This one's on the eastbound side, coming up at Forest Lawn Drive. The right lane is blocked. Big delays backing up out of Burbank, getting away from Bob Hope Drive. Also, on the 5 northbound, heading into the Grapevine, that is a very tough drive. Earlier crash had all lanes blocked off for a bit, even while they were doing some repair work. But that 5 northbound now is just a nightmare drive from the 138 all the way to Grapevine Road. Now it's thinning out, but it's still very slow moving. We're also checking out Santa Clarita. This is the 14 northbound. Delays leaving the 5. You remain on the brakes in stretches, looking a lot better by Soledad Canyon Road. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Help your kid excel in math and love it at brilliant.org.
Inheriting a home can be overwhelming. Between repairs and the time it takes to get everything ready to sell, it can feel like more trouble than it's worth. That is where Seller's Advantage comes in.
One real customer who inherited a home shared their experience. We had an inheritance from a relative. It would have taken us a lot of time, money, and headaches to get the property in shape to sell. I heard about Seller's Advantage from radio commercials and decided to give them a try. Their offer was reasonable and we accepted it. They took care of all the physical effort and legal complexities. We closed within 3 weeks. They said I would highly recommend them to anyone.
No matter what your reason for selling, call Seller's Advantage today. 888-321-AS-IS. 888-321-AS-IS.
That's 888-321-2747 or visit sellersadvantage.com for your free, no obligation cash offer.
Don't worry, sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 019-61658. Providence Realty DRE number 019-15212.
Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit smiletunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Worried about inflation, market volatility, or the weakening dollar? More Americans are turning to physical gold and silver to help diversify their retirement savings. Right now, receive up to $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Call 888-447-7857 now to speak with a gold specialist. That's 888-447-7857. Again, call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offers a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium mint coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credited to customer accounts. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
OPO Law, your advocates and your voice when you need it most. OPOLaw.com.
Toyota's national sales event is on, and now's the time to find your new Toyota. Whether you're looking for the capability of a Tacoma or Tundra, the efficiency of a Camry or Corolla, or the versatility of a RAV4, there's a Toyota built for you. With low lease payments and APRs on our most popular models, now's the perfect time to get yours. But don't wait. Toyota National Sales Event ends soon. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
What can you do at Toyota.com? Better question, what can't you do? Because at Toyota.com, you can check out our latest models, search our inventory, and see our latest offers. You can even build and price your new Toyota right online, picking the exact model and color that's right for you. Whether you just want to download a brochure or you're ready to buy, all things Toyota are at Toyota.com. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, follow us on all the things at KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And we're on from 3 to 6, and then after 6 o'clock, we've got the podcast, John Kobylt Show on demand. Quite a bit went on today. I don't have time to go through it right here, but maybe later And after 6 o'clock, you ought to be listening. We're live on YouTube, live on X. All right. Let's you and I talk about Lisa Lange, who is the Vice President of Communications for PETA, who we just had on for the last half hour. Originally, they were upset because I was raging about him the other day, saying, I'm not aware they're doing anything that I noticed, and Deborah hadn't noticed either, about this blatant abuse, murder, torture of animals on Skid Row. And whatever they've done has been completely ineffective. Bass hasn't twitched a muscle. And Lisa came on and said, well, we had a press release, we bought ads, we have decals. And I'm sorry, but an ad in the Los Angeles Times on a Sunday.
Look, I did a news story yesterday that PETA put up a billboard in Boyle Heights that said, go vegan, right? Because at that cold storage warehouse, there was all that rotting meat, right? And everybody's complaining about the stench. And so PETA did that. We did the story. I don't know if it got any TV coverage. I'm not sure because I did not watch TV news last night. But I think that PETA needs to go to Skid Row and make a lot of noise. And maybe they need to put up some kind of outrageous billboard, something to attract attention, to have the TV stations there, because that is what is going to make Mayor Bass and LAPD Chief McDonald and the people that run the animal services organizations, that is going to make them pay attention, because that is really, really, really bad publicity. That will get attention. I think some of the other things they were doing, and I appreciate that they're trying to do something. I mean, look, I am an animal rights activist for sure, but I don't think it's enough.
They're too low key.
And they're not low key. PETA is known for not being low key.
Right, exactly. It's out of character that they haven't been center stage in all this.
Right. And that's why we said that we didn't know, where is PETA on this? And I get that they're doing a lot of things behind the scenes. Now they need to do things front and center and get loud, be obnoxious, do the things that you've done in the past that have attracted a lot of attention.
Yeah, I it seems that they don't want to play hardball like they used to. Do they want to stay in Karen Bass's good graces for some reason?
What has she done? But
I don't know. It's like, why they're not only pulling their punches on what the homeless people are doing. They're pulling their punches on Bass not enforcing the law, or Jim McDonald not enforcing the law. So I'm saying, well, why is this? Are times too good? Have they gotten fat and lazy because their revenue, their fundraising is coming in, and they don't have to take any risks anymore? They made their money.
It's all well and good to talk about breeding and to talk about spay and neuter, and that is so important because our shelters are full, right? And so absolutely that's a big problem. But it's not just puppies that are being harmed on Skid Row. It's adult dogs. It's more than just a spay and neuter problem. But I do recognize that is a huge problem.
Right. But it circles back to all these laws are on the books. All these policies have been written up. They don't need anything new.
No.
Bass doesn't enforce them. And it's up to PETA and these other groups to make a public stake to force them to enforce the law. And that hasn't been done. And so, like, why somebody's got to put their boot on Bass's neck here and say, this is not going to stand.
Maybe PETA needs to go out in front of Bass's office carrying signs and, again, doing the outrageous things they've done in the past to get her to notice. I don't know if there was some kind of, I don't know if they've changed their policies on not being outrageous like that. But we know in the past they've done stunts and they've done things to attract attention so that people will notice them. I mean, PETA has had, there's been issues. People that have talked negatively about some of the things that they've done.
They get tasteless and vulgar and all that. But
this requires
that. Also works.
Yes, this requires it. PETA, be tasteless and vulgar. Go out in front of Bass's office. Go to the police station. Go outside McDonald's office. Do something.
Otherwise, they're doing what Bass does, which you have a press release. you say all these nice things, but there's no action. I mean, she does that. Now PETA's doing it. Well, all right, who's going to be bold here and actually change things?
Because nothing is changing.
The police ought to be there picking up the dogs and physically rescuing the dogs with their bare hands.
Absolutely. I don't care. You know what? I'm sorry. Nobody has rights to harm an animal, whether you're homeless or you're not. Nobody has a right to hurt an animal. And the homeless do not, I'm sorry, they shouldn't get any kind of extra privileges. No. You hurt an animal, that animal is taken away from you, period, no matter who you are.
Well, what really pissed me off is the story Lisa told about the Bass staff member, I guess, who says, and I could just hear the condescending tone. Well, homeless people have rights too. They do not have the right to murder and torture dogs.
If a homeless person wants an animal, then that animal needs shelter, which then obviously it's not a homeless person. That animal needs a leash. That animal needs proper food and proper veterinary care and water. If you're able to give that to an animal, then that's your right to have that animal as long as it's not abused. But to have an animal living in the streets, I mean, I see it all the time, and they're on their paws are on the hot pavement, and they're they're on freeway off ramps, and they don't even have a leash. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, one of these days an animal is just going to bolt in front of cars.
Yeah. And just shame on Bass, shame on Nithya Raman, and all the advisors, all the staff members. You people have just completely lost your humanity. It's our duty to take care of the cats and dogs. We have to do it. And you can't give special dispensation to people in the streets. I mean, this has gone so far. And shame on everybody's who's read stories, seen stories, listened to what we've been doing, and you haven't put any pressure on Bass or Raman or anybody else at City Hall, because then you're part of the problem too. Then all these dogs are being sacrificed, and you're responsible as well.
And can I say one more thing? This is relevant, but it's not, because the shelters are so full. There are so many purebred dogs that you can find at shelters and at rescue groups. Stop going to breeders. These dogs need us, and cats and all the other animals that are in shelters and rescue organizations. People are breeding these designer dogs, and you know what? A lot of them are in shelters and rescue groups. So that's just my little 5 cents there about, adopt, don't shop.
That was more than 5 cents.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I have to hold a lot of this stuff in.
I understand. I could see you're boiling over in there. But you're right. You're absolutely right. And we're going to keep pushing on this. I'm just, you Bass people, you despicable, reprehensible Bass people, we're going to keep on banging on your head till the end of time if you don't stop this. You better get Jim McDonnell and the police out there now and start collecting the dogs and bring them to the shelters and give them the medical treatment they need.
Like dog catchers, how they used to go around.
Yeah.
Do that. Go to Skid Row and get huge vans and let's not put them in shelters where they're going to die, but let's find people who are going to adopt them.
Yes, and publicize it. And people will want to adopt these dogs who've been tortured on
Absolutely.
Skid Row. This has got to end.
When these animals have a story, people love that.
All right, Deborah Mark is now going to put on her news hat.
Yes, I took it off for a while. It felt good, and now it's going back on.
Live in the Can't Fight 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. An L.A. grand jury indictment has been unsealed, charging Nick Reiner with the murder of his parents, and Verizon is offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of whoever cut some fiber cables in Southern California. We'll have more at the top of the hour. We're going to go to the 101 next.
Summer's winding down. There's time for one more home upgrade. Yeah, there is. For this month of August, American Vision Windows wants to help you finish your home projects before fall arrives. Pick any two of their most popular offers. I'm going to list them. Listen closely. Either free expert installation, free sound package, free upgrade to Sun Matrix, or they pay your tax, or no interest, no payments for 18 months. Pick two of those. And then you will get stunning energy-efficient windows. You'll be much more comfortable in your house. Your home will look so much better to the outside world. Lower your energy bills, and this will go on forever. With 1 million windows installed, American Vision Windows has earned the trust of homeowners across California. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Call or see the website for details. Offer ends this August 31st. AmericanVisionWindows.com. Call 888-771-2188. 888-771-2188.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow, 70s to the 90s for the highs. This report brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Stall on the 101 in Woodland Hills.
This one is along the southbound side, and it's coming up at Canoga Avenue. Right lane's been blocked. They're trying to scoot it to the shoulder. It's a bus. Big delays overall, backing up out of Calabasas from just about Lost Hills. Also, beyond the stall, the drive remains heavy all the way to the 170-134 split. Garden Grove, crash on the 22 eastbound past Euclid. These guys are off to the right shoulder, slowing things down from Magnolia. And Norco, they just wrapped a wreck on the 15 southbound past 6th Street, but delays are still pushing back off of the 10. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Listen to this. What do you hear? Nothing. That's my phone. It's quiet. No spam calls, no spam texts. Silence is great. Your phone probably makes a lot of noise. Why? Data brokers are selling your personal information like it's on clearance. Your phone number, home address, email, family members, political affiliations, even where you bank. These scammers are blowing up your phone on purpose. They bought your information, and they'll keep buying it over and over until you make it stop. I did it with Incogni's help. Incogni, INCOGNI. They automatically remove your personal information from hundreds of data brokers and people search sites. Incogni sends the legal removal requests. They follow up and keep monitoring so your information stays off those lists. If scammers can't find you, they can't target you. Get 60% off right now at incogni.com/KFI. That's incogni.com/KFI.
Anthem Blue Cross and Chicas Verdes are helping students throughout Los Angeles learn how to grow and prepare their own healthy food. They're joined by Sparks and will provide education, recipes, and knowledge to students and families. Learn more at anthem.com/CA/Sparks. Anthem Blue Cross is the trade name of Blue Cross of California.
This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. Fresh snacking starts at Whole Foods Market. Prime members can get organic black, red, and green seedless grapes for $2.99 a pound through September 1st. Sweet, crisp, and ready for lunchboxes. While supplies last, shop in-store or online. Terms apply.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorney.
Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
Look at all the complaints that our competitors have on their BBB ratings. GimmeTheVin.com is a 5-star rated company. We do what we say we're going to do. It's that easy.
Sell us your car. GimmeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
Fix your termite problem with no move out. Seen termite droppings or discarded wings? Call Pacific Coast Termite for a free inspection. If needed, get no tent, no gas treatment with a 2-year warranty. Call today and they'll be there within 5 days. Call 800-PACIFIC. Some restrictions apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter.
Ice Cube's Big 3 season is heating up, and it all comes down to this. The Big 3 playoffs are coming to Dallas, Texas. The 4 best teams in the Big 3 battle it out for a spot in the championship. The action starts with the legendary Big 3 Celebrity Game. 3 games of the most physical, competitive, and nonstop 3-on-3 action. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET. Oh, yay, yay!
Wake Up Call with Amy King.
KFI Radio, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Amy King with KFI's Wake Up Call. How do you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Eagle has landed, and its name is Amy King.
Wake Up Call with Amy King. Live 5 to 6 a.m. on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Some apps say they're free, then come the fees. Not the iHeart app. It's 100% free. No required subscriptions to access the best live radio stations, free playlists, podcasts, and more. Download the free iHeart app today.
iHeartRadio.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. And coming up after 5 o'clock, we're going to talk with Michael Gates, running for California Attorney General against Rob Bonta. That's after Deborah's News at 5. But right now, we're going to talk with, he's rejoined KFI, now working with KFI News, Jason Nathanson. And you came across, this has something to do with Jackie the Eagle.
Yes.
You came across with something, you explain it, because I don't know that I can.
Well, I called the National Eagle Repository because that's where the body is going to go next. And we wanted to find out, what are those next steps? What's going to happen to the body? We know that the parts and the feathers can go to Native American tribes for use in cultural ceremonies and things like that. But wanted some details on what that process actually looks like. So called them today, and when you call, you get a menu of options, and this is what I first heard.
To check the status of your Eagle order, press 2. For questions about applying for the Eagle parts for Native American religious purposes permit, press 5.
Okay, so that's what we expected, but then one of the options caught my attention, this one.
For Eagle orders for inmates and incarcerated individuals, press 8.
So
what's that about?
A question mark went up there, and I said, okay, so yeah, what is that about? Is there a program specifically for inmates to get these, or what's going on? So I called them and sent them an email, asked for some more information about this. They haven't gotten back to me. Surprisingly. But I looked it up some more, and you can find on their website information about, first, there's a permit here, and on the permit, there is inmate-specific data. So if you are an inmate, you're supposed to fill out this one part right here where it says, are you newly incarcerated, your inmate number, your institution, stuff like that. Then you fill out the rest of the stuff. There's an order form on here of the parts and specifically what...
Eagle parts?
Yeah.
Well,
so you can order a whole bald or golden eagle, equivalent parts. So a pair of wings, a whole tail, a head, a pair of talons, a trunk, the torso.
What would a prisoner do with an eagle trunk?
So if you are specifically from a federally recognized Native American tribe, you have religious options in prison, just like any other inmate who can practice their religion. They all do, right? So they can order as part of their religion for ceremonial purposes one of these parts. But I don't know how often does this happen? How many people get them? What can they get?
But I don't understand the body parts. I could see feathers for decorative, some ritual purposes, but all the body parts?
Well, so not all the body parts. It depends on the prison. It does say what the prison allows.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing because they do use some of the bones to make flutes and drums and things like that. I'm guessing that would be considered a weapon in prison. You probably couldn't get, a leg bone or something like that.
They make flutes out of eagle bones.
They do. Yeah, that's one of the things that they use these parts for. I was looking through all the different ceremonies and stuff.
So a prisoner could do that if he wants.
If they were able to get that specific part. I'm guessing they can't get that part. I'm guessing feathers are probably the most common thing.
Right, nothing hard. Nothing you can shave down into a knife.
And I don't know what prisons have different things. I'm sure some prisons outright ban it. I'm sure some prisons make allowances for it. These are all questions that we have and want to find out more info from them. And we just don't know yet how far this goes.
This can't be real.
Who can get it? And I think, so there's already concern here among a lot of people who are fans of Jackie in this area that she is going to this program and not being laid to rest in Big Bear, where they would like to see her.
Right, but she's going to be carved up and handed out to prisoners.
That could be a possibility. And from what I understand here, you can't apply for a specific eagle. So I don't think a prisoner could request Jackie specifically.
Yeah,
but
she'll be thrown into the
could go into the
bin. Yeah,
right. And there's wait times of a year to several years for different parts. And
they can't get the eagle heads, can they?
Yeah, they can.
They can?
Specifically.
What would you do with an eagle head?
Specifically, the head. You can request the head specifically. If you can
really?
Yeah. The whole tail, the head.
So Jackie's head could end up in some prison cell.
If that's allowed in the prison, it seems like it would be a possibility. Again, these are questions that we have. But they can request these parts.
Just one more.
Yeah.
Would Jackie have to sign a donor card to get this?
That is a good question. In the state of California, I will check on that as well.
Okay.
To see.
All right. Well, I want you to come back. I want answers to all this.
I'll keep reporting.
Okay. It's hard to believe. Deborah Marks got the news, and then we're going to talk to Michael Gates, who is now, he's running for Attorney General here in California against Rob Bonta, and he's going to come on and talk about Bonta's attempt to interfere with the Paramount merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. And now the head of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Ellison, is threatening to move the company out of Hollywood and go to Texas or Tennessee or who knows where. He's also threatening to move CBS News out of New York because in New York, Letitia James, you may remember her from the Trump lawsuits, she signed the same lawsuit as Bonta did. So we'll talk with Michael Gates coming up next. Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Indicted. I'm Deborah Mark live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. An LA grand jury indictment has been unsealed, charging Nick Reiner with the murder of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. ABC's Alex Stone says they were killed in their home in Brentwood last December.
The charges in this indictment are essentially the same as what he was originally charged with, the murder of his parents. They added one special circumstance of lying in wait.
The grand jury, which had been meeting in secret, returned the indictment last month, but it was unsealed today when Nick Reiner pleaded not guilty. Legal analyst Royal Oak says the indictment will allow the prosecution to bypass a preliminary hearing and go right to trial, which he says should benefit the DA.
Protecting witnesses and avoiding a lengthy preliminary hearing, but also now prosecutors don't have to give the defense a public dress rehearsal of their murder case.
Reiner's due for a pretrial hearing September 15th. A teenager is in custody for allegedly having a gun following an altercation between students at Santee High School that prompted the campus to be put on a temporary lockdown. The LA School Police Department says the students' parents have been notified. The matter's been addressed in accordance with LAUSD policy. The department says students cannot bring dangerous things to school, including those that resemble or imitate a dangerous object. LA Mayor Bass, Assemblymember Mark Gonzalez, and Senator Maria Elena Durazo have announced legislation in response to the Lineage warehouse fire in Boyle Heights. Bass says the bill is aimed at stopping permits being issued to cold storage facilities unless they have a contingency fund.
When Boyle Heights needed help, we showed up. And that's why I am standing with Assemblymember Mark Gonzalez to support AB 17.
The bill would also make local governments take quicker action if a state of emergency has been declared. The feds say hundreds of immigrants have been moved from county jails to federal custody.
The Department of Justice says its Operation Guardian Angel program is in response to California's Values Act. The sanctuary state policy limits local and state law enforcement from assisting the feds with immigration enforcement. The DOJ says Guardian Angel, which began last year, has resulted in 769 arrest warrants, with 362 people transferred from county jails to federal custody around LA, the Inland Empire, and the Central Coast. Some have since been deported, but no number's been given by the feds. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
Two bipartisan California state senators have held a rally at the Capitol to push the passage of a bill known as Jay Leno's Law.
The law named after the car-collecting comedian would extend the smog check exemption to qualifying classics and collectible and infrequently driven models from 1976 to pre-1985. Democratic Senator Dave Cortese, a co-author, said for many families, the cars are much more than machines.
Their family history, their hand-me-downs that need to be registered by whoever you're handing it down to. And you can't get the darn thing registered unless today you can get a smog certificate for it, which is damn near impossible to do.
A vote Thursday will determine if Leno's Law moves to the assembly floor for a full vote. Mark Reiner, KFI News.
As we learn more about what might happen to the remains of Jackie, the big bear bald eagle, it seems possible she could end up in prison.
We were told by wildlife officials that the remains of Jackie will go to the National Eagle Repository. And one of the things they do is give out eagle parts and feathers to Native American tribes to be used in religious and cultural ceremonies. And when you call the Eagle Repository, this is one of the options.
For eagle orders for inmates and incarcerated individuals, press 8.
Members of Native American tribes who are in prison are allowed to order eagle parts and feathers as long as the correctional facility allows it. On the Eagle Part Order form, there's a special section for inmates. We've reached out to the National Eagle Repository for more information about the program. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
Verizon is offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of whoever cut some fiber cables in Southern California.
It comes after vandals cut multiple fiber cables over the last several days, causing service interruptions to thousands of Verizon customers. Verizon's chief legal officer says the illegal acts put people's safety and lives at risk. Industry data cited by Verizon says that California leads the nation in economic losses over outages caused by vandalism. Mark Mayfield, KFI News.
We're going to go to the 405 next.
Infinity Bank. When it comes to banking, are all your eggs in one basket? What happens when your card doesn't work and you have to look at the back of the card to find the 800 number? Or if your wallet is stolen, who's going to be the reliable source when you need money or new cards or assurance that your money is safe? Well, you won't have to worry about that with Infinity Bank. You call the president, Victor Guerrero, to set up a new account. Yes, you can call the president. He set up my account. 657-223-1000. 657-223-1000. Call him. And for a limited time, get one of the best rates in the U.S. with their money market savings account. Infinity Bank.
Southland weather from KFI, low clouds and fog in the morning. Then it will be sunny, highs mid-70s to low 80s, Metro, LA, and the high desert. Windy again in the high desert. Low to mid-80s in the valleys, low 70s for the beaches, upper 70s to low 80s inland OC, low to upper 80s and windy in the IE. Right now, 77 in Dana Point, 82 in Anaheim, 85 in Diamond Bar. It's 80 in Simi Valley. The KFI financial update brought to you by Supersure, supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform. All your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed down 22, S&P 500 up 20, NASDAQ up 143. Stall on the 405 in West LA.
This one's on the northbound side. It's coming right up on Santa Monica Boulevard. Second lane from the left is where what is blocked, and delays. Well, they're backing up out of Culver City from just about Venice Boulevard. Beyond the stall, the drive's going to be slow anyway, like any normal midday commute, all the way up to the 5 merge into Sylmar. It's also tough on that southbound side of the 405, leaving West LA from Santa Monica Boulevard in stretches all the way back towards Palo Verde and Long Beach. And let's check out a problem in Irvine. We got some traffic on that 5 northbound, slowing from the 133 freeway all the way to Harbor in Anaheim. A crash in Anaheim Hills, East 91, coming up just past the 241. That's where everything should be off to the shoulder, but delays are still backing up all the way from the 57 freeway. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Have you been avoiding shorts or swimsuits because of painful varicose or embarrassing spider veins? Is that how you want to live? West Medical can help. Treatments may be covered by most PPO insurance plans, including Anthem Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, and more. Don't ignore leg pain, swelling, or bulging veins. Call 1-800-WEST Medical for your free consultation or visit westmedical.com today. Isn't it time to feel incredible?
Feel incredible. 'Cause I call 1-800-WEST Medical.
Seriously, my dealership just fixed the transmission.
We all know how it can be to go to the wrong place for transmission repair. Made up of over 800 pieces, the transmission is the most complex part of your car. So bring it to the transmission experts at AMCO. AMCO, always the right fix. AA MCO. Special financing available. Restrictions, limitations, and exclusions may apply. See AMCO.com for complete details.
AMCO, with over 40 centers serving Southern California.
In this edition of the Marketer's Report, Scott Hinchelwood, a director at St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, talks about the power of live events.
We've been working with iHeart now going back to your beginning, and we have over 60 iHeart station partners out there telling our story, and it really helps drive that St. Jude mission home and share our patients and share our mission.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live events, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. We continue. What a packed show we had today. You ought to listen to the podcast if you haven't been with us. That's going to be released just after 6 o'clock. John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. You can also watch us live on YouTube right now and live on X. Subscribe, become a member, youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. Live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. We are going to do 1 hour or less than an hour on the live stream and only 1 hour on the radio tomorrow because the Los Angeles Chargers have their first preseason game and coverage starts at 4 o'clock. Woohoo. Woohoo. So we're reduced to an hour just tomorrow. I think that might happen one time later in the season too. So we're doing a live stream at 11 o'clock. You get 2 hours there you can string together somehow. Let's now go to Michael Gates running for Attorney General against Rob Bonta, who's really a cartoon character. Paramount is calling Bonta's bluff. Bonta and 11 other Democratic attorneys general are suing to block the Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery merger. And David Ellison, the CEO of Paramount, says, if you do that, then I'm out of California. Thousands of jobs go with him. If you work for Paramount or any of its subsidiaries here in California, you could be packing up and moving to Texas or Tennessee, maybe as early as October 1st. And because the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, and she's famous for going after Trump, she's part of the same lawsuit. He's threatening to move CBS News out of New York, which is plausible because since they're going to own CNN now, they can merge CBS and CNN in an Atlanta super bureau. So all this really is on the table. Already the board has signed off on it. And now it's up to Bonta. He says it's blackmail. He can call it whatever he wants. If he's going to cause so much trouble for private companies, then he's going to get what he deserves. I don't think the people who work for Paramount deserve this forced move, but these companies want to merge and they should be left alone. Let's go to Michael Gates, running for California Attorney General as a Republican. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Tell me, because I am not well-versed in all of this. What is it Rob Bonta's business if two companies decide they want to merge, especially since we have such a splintered media environment with endless choices?
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, we all know that Rob Bonta is not very smart. He literally is even using the wrong terminology. He's calling it blackmail. I think what he's looking for is extortion, but it's not. It's these companies, if they're going to be sued out of business, they're going to leave the state of California before they get sued out of business, right? Like, so these lawsuits, the antitrust lawsuit that Rob Bonta has filed along with 11 other states, basically is alleging that the Paramount merger with Time Warner is a violation of antitrust law. In other words, the merger would cause them to control so much of the market that there would be a disadvantage or a non-competitive advantage for the customer. And so we have antitrust laws in place. Most of them are federal, some at the state level as well. The problem with this is there's actually in federal court, there's actually basically a presumption, in federal case law, a presumption that if a merger, a proposed merger, suggests that there might be 30% or more control of the market, then it should be brought under scrutiny and taken a closer look at. So there's already sort of a threshold established. In Rob Bonta's own lawsuit, he alleges that at best or highest that, or his estimate is that the Paramount merger with Warner Brothers would actually be like something along the lines of 27%. So even in his own allegations in the lawsuit, he doesn't meet the threshold that's typically required to move forward with judicial scrutiny. So this whole thing is just pure political theater. He does not like Ellison. And by the way, important to note that when Netflix was interested in acquiring Warner Brothers, Rob Bonta had no problem with that. Why? Because Netflix had been donating to Rob Bonta and his causes for years. In fact, estimates are it's about $1 million of Netflix donations that have flowed towards Bonta over the years in various forms. And Netflix, but when Netflix took a look at the Warner Brothers merger, that was fine by Bonta. That was okay. But now that it's Ellison and Paramount, now there's antitrust violations everywhere. So
it would have been the same type of merger.
Same exact type of merger. And is anybody going to argue that Netflix is smaller than Paramount? There's no way. I mean, these are massive businesses. And just so the listeners know too, like, look, not suing these businesses is not a favor to these businesses. They literally are not violating the law. The federal government already analyzed this merger and cleared it. The European Union already analyzed this merger and approved it. China, other countries, very large stakeholders who might have had an interest in the outcome of this merger already reviewed this and had no objections to it. So whether it's as a matter of fact, matter of interest, or matter of law, it has already cleared so many hurdles and received so many approvals, yet it doesn't have Rob Bonta's approval. Why? Because Ellison is not a supporter and an ally of Bonta. Paramount is not a supporter and an ally of Bonta, but Netflix was. And Netflix doesn't want this merger, by the way, right? So Netflix doesn't want Paramount to merge with Warner Brothers. So this is all pure political theater. The audience has to know I've done antitrust law. I actually had a case when I represented Huntington Beach. It's a very high-profile case. It almost went to the United States Supreme Court. I litigated it myself personally in federal district court, also the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. I know antitrust. I've been in court litigating it. Rob Bonta does not. Trust me, this proposed Paramount Warner Brothers merger is not an antitrust concern whatsoever. This is pure political theater for political gain. And it's going to cost thousands of jobs if Paramount gets upset enough with everything that's going on in California, this stinking pile of you-know-what, and they leave, thousands of jobs. So all these young people who are coming up in California thinking, I'm going to get into production, whether it's TV or movie, I'm going to get into production. I want to break into the industry. I want to work on these shows. I want to be part of the production crews. They're going to be greatly disappointed when these businesses like Paramount, and then also the industry. I mean, we're looking at an exodus of the entire industry leaving California at this point after other production companies going to Georgia and so on and so forth. So this is going to affect our economy, and this is going to affect thousands of jobs.
Ellison seems like he's serious too, because he already got the board, he says, has approved a move, and he says he'll move CBS News out of New York City, because that attorney general is involved in the same lawsuit. He's willing to leave both states entirely.
And I'm actually, I support Ellison and all those who will stand up to bullies and refuse not to be bullied. And we need to do the right thing for their shareholders and their employees. I hope that Paramount does not leave. I hope that they do stay and that they fight Bonta and take Bonta on, because Bonta is a bully. This is Rob Bonta, our Attorney General. He is a bully. He's been suing Catholic hospitals. He's been suing school boards. He has been suing hospitals to force trans surgeries on minors. He's been suing all of the wrong entities. He's suing cities to force high-density housing. And now he's suing these large businesses, like literally driving them out of the state of California. So I'm glad somebody's standing up to the bully in Sacramento. As you know, when I was city attorney, I stood up to Rob Bonta for years fighting back, and we've got many wins under our belt. But bullies need to be stood up to. And so Rob Bonta is just being a bully here. Spencer Pratt's been calling him boneheaded Bonta because of all the boneheaded moves he's been making. And this guy is, like you said, he's a cartoon. I mean, he's running a circus here. This is a total joke, and it's only going to hurt California, though. In the long run, it's going to hurt California and hurt young people looking for jobs in the movie and TV industry. It's a disaster.
Michael, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Michael Gates, running for California Attorney General against Rob Bonta. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. The Lakers are being sold for a record amount of money, and new details are coming out about President Trump secretly switching planes. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour, going to the 4:05 next.
GiveMeTheVIN.com. This summer, you can sell your car in a hot minute. You ought to try it. Enter your car's VIN number and get an offer fast. If GiveMeTheVIN.com's offer cannot beat CarMax, they'll pay you $1 $500. GiveMeTheVin.com. You'll get your check on the spot. Easy, fast. GiveMeTheVin.com. America's best car buyer.
GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow, 70s to the 90s for your highs. This report brought to you by Blindster.com. From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Crash on the 405 in Carson.
This one is making your way along that northbound side, just past the 110 freeway. 2 left lanes blocked. Delays backing up out of Long Beach, getting away from Alameda. Also, staying on that 405. This is northbound just before Santa Monica Boulevard. They got rid of that stall. It's out of lanes now, and traffic's picking up, leaving the 10 slow beyond the scene of the stall as you continue in stretches towards the 5 merge into Sylmar. And in Riverside, a crash on the 215 northbound past Columbia, taking out that left lane, slowing you down away from Blaine Street. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
This report is sponsored by CummonsRecall.com.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500 plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CummonsRecall.com.
Help your kid excel in math and love it at brilliant.org.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
For Bud, the harmonica is a family affair. Now Bud's living with prostate cancer. He still knows how to groove, and he also knows once daily Xtandi. Xtandi treats metastatic prostate cancer that responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi is proven to help these men live longer. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. What a riff, Bud. Ask your doctor about Xtandi.
Want more than just awareness for your business? An iHeartMedia partnership can help drive action through sweepstakes, ticket giveaways, listener contesting, and local media. Attach your business to music moments built to grow awareness, engagement, and leads. Get started today. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Gold has hit near record highs, and many Americans are discovering they can move part of their existing IRA or 401k into physical gold and silver without paying taxes or penalties. It's called a rollover, and Golden Crest Metals helps investors do it every day. No cash out, complicated paperwork, no hassle. Golden Crest is a nationally recognized precious metals firm seen on Fox Business and CNBC with an A- BBB rating and 5-star reviews. Plus, right now, receive up to $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Call 888-447-7857 now. That's 888-447-7857. Call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offer is a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium mintage coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped at $25,000 and credited to customer account. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
Pull up a chair to At the Table, the food allergy podcast. Each episode, we'll explore how food allergies shape the way we travel, date, celebrate, and connect. Because living with food allergies isn't just about what you can't eat. It's about still having your seat at the table. Brought to you by Genentech and Novartis. Listen to At the Table, the food allergy podcast on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow At the Table and start listening on the free iHeart Radio app today.
KFI, AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Hey, it's Conway Show. Today after 6 p.m. You know what these ADUs are, right? It's that little sort of condo you can build in your backyard. Well, they cost about $200,000 to build. And you're not going to believe how much they increase your property value. Talk about that more and all these ADUs around Southern California today after 6 on the Conway Show.
Can't find AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show, Moist line for Friday, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86, or use the talkback feature. We'll play the Moist line back twice on Friday. We got a live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. And remember, only 1 hour on radio tomorrow because of the Chargers game. So we're on from 3 to 4 on the radio, but a bonus live stream at 11 a.m. tomorrow. You go to YouTube or X for that. After Deborah's news, we're going to have ABC News analyst Royal Oakes to talk about the secret grand jury indictment of Nick Reiner. And he's got a revised list of charges, and several of them can lead to the death penalty. Nick Reiner, the son of Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner, and he killed them, his parents, in that brutal stabbing. So we'll talk to Royal Oakes about this whole process that went on, and nobody knew about it. You may have heard this on Deborah's news. This is a great invention. So much of the trouble that people have with ICE is because they try to catch criminals to deport, and criminals don't want to be deported. And so they end up in a big fight and a scuffle, and then all these paid protesters jump in, and you got a big mess, right? So how do you subdue the criminals, the would-be deportees, quicker? Well, ICE is going to get gloves that deliver painful electric shocks. It's a $20 million project. They're going to buy thousands of, get this title, conductive distraction and de-escalation devices. These are gloves that will shock the combatant, right? You got some criminal, illegal alien, and he's not cooperating. You just pat him on the shoulder, zap, and that'll stun him for a moment, and you'll be able to handcuff him, zip tie him, whatever you need to do. They actually call these devices, which are gloves, they're calling them the glove, GLOVE, which stands for Generated Low Output Voltage Emitter. Compliant Technologies manufacture them in Kentucky, and they make you very compliant. You get a couple of pats on the back, and they've been used by some jails and police departments. Is there any video out how this works? I want to see some of these criminals get a little pat on the back and go into a spasm. They're looking to be publishing for the no-bid contract as early as Friday. Civil rights advocates express alarm. Well, look, you don't want guns used. You don't want batons. You don't want them beaten up. To enforce the law, I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know what goes on in the heads of these ACLU types, because it is the ACLU that's bitching about this. I don't know if you've noticed, but bad guys don't like to be caught. They don't wish to go to prison, and they certainly don't want to be deported. And there's a project director with the ACLU, Jen Rolnick Borchetta. It's always three names. Jen says, why would the devices be necessary for civil immigration enforcement? Because people don't cooperate, and then you have to do something more violent, which is going to lead to something more chaotic. I mean, really, what are you, stupid? I don't know why they'd be necessary. What are you supposed to do? Give the guy some daisies and hope he's so overcome with emotion he surrenders? She also said those getting shocked might have no advance warning. Well, yeah. Ever hear the element of surprise? She says, I spent the last year showing this country that they're too quick to use force. Okay, this won't be that much force. It just temporarily stuns them until you get control of them. That's way better than a beating. Now they'll be able to deploy electric shocks with the slightest push of a button that maybe nobody else can see them do. Yes, that's right. You catch them by surprise. Well, she's got the analysis down. This is exactly the way they're supposed to work. This is not a bug. This is the feature. This is the design. Introducing gloves can be so easily used to deliver terrible pain in encounters is a recipe for harm to the public. It's not going to be harm to the public. It's going to be harm for people breaking the law. And it's an electric zap. That's all it is. They've used this in other jails and transport situations. They subdue violent suspects who are refusing to get into squad cars, inmates who are harming themselves or threatening officers. Again, little pat on the back, little shake of the hand, little rub on the arm, zap. They're under control. This is great. By the way, speaking, at the end of the hour, we're going to have Royal Oaks on next to talk about the Nick Reiner indictment. But after that, there was a great story in the New York Times today about this guy who was deported, and he should go to Cuba. I mean, he's been in the country illegally like about 40 years, and he once pled guilty to attempted murder, so he's not a good guy. But he was never actually deported, and he couldn't be sent to Cuba because Cuba wouldn't accept him. So Trump sent him to a country I'm sure you never heard of, because I never heard of this country. And this guy walked out of the plane, and he had no idea where he was. the agents went, bye-bye. Tell you the whole story coming up in the last segment of this hour. Next segment is Royal Oaks on Nick Reiner's indictment. Now, Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The Lakers are being sold for a record $12.5 billion. The team's being bought by former Disney CEO Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. He is the younger brother of Jared Kushner, who is married to President Trump's daughter, Ivanka. The deal comes just a year after current Lakers owner Mark Walter bought a majority stake in the team from the Buss family for $10 billion. Walter is under federal investigation for alleged tax fraud involving his insurance businesses, and the deal still needs to be approved by the NBA's Board of Governors. The news is brought to you by Sellers Advantage. Lineage Logistics has announced more incremental progress in cleaning up its burned-out warehouse in Boyle Heights. The company says about 92% of the rotted food waste has been removed from the site, with the operation now in its final phase. Hollywood production is getting another boost.
After years of declining filming in the state, Governor Newsom says 9 TV projects are getting state tax credits, including a Clueless sequel starring Alicia Silverstone and a reboot of The Rockford Files starring David Boreanaz. Film LA's latest report shows overall, LA on-location production was down nearly 13% year over year last quarter, although TV showed some improvement. The state says the newly approved projects could generate $608 million in spending and about 3,000 cast and crew jobs. Heather Brooker, KFI News.
ICE agents may soon get gloves that can give electric shocks. You heard John talking about this a few minutes ago. ABC's Olivia Rubin says the Department of Homeland Security is looking to spend as much as $20 million on them.
The device is called GLOVE, which stands for Generated Low Output Voltage Emitter. The gloves must directly touch a person's skin for the shock to work.
Human rights activists say it's a bad idea because the gloves can cause terrible pain. Sailors are going overboard to avoid their extended deployment in the Middle East.
The Military Times says it's spoken to families who say loved ones are suffering from exhaustion and low morale. One woman says her husband was put on medical hold after he tried to jump overboard from the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln in the Middle East. More than 200 family members met in San Diego last week with the acting Secretary of the Navy over the sailors' mental health and a lack of supplies, food, and safety on deck. One woman said her husband sent her a message saying he hopes he doesn't wake up tomorrow. The acting Secretary told the crowd another carrier is being prepped to relieve Lincoln, whose deployment was supposed to end in May, but did not say when. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
And new details are coming out about President Trump secretly switching planes using a catering truck to leave Turkey last month. ABC's Jonathan Karl says the decision was made just a few hours before Trump left a NATO summit.
The decision was driven by intelligence that an Iranian terror cell had snuck into Turkey with a shoulder-fired missile, and that they had information about Trump's whereabouts.
Trump boarded Air Force One, was snuck out through a back door, put in the catering truck, and driven to another plane. We're heading over to the 91 next.
Being hurt in an accident, well, that's like a punch in the gut that you never saw coming. The attorneys at Sweet James, they know the agony, the disruption, the devastation that people go through. Sweet James has spent 25 years fighting for injured accident victims. They have the experience and the reputation and the care to help you make your comeback. They've helped thousands of people just like you recover. When an accident has changed their life, they've won over $1 billion for their clients. They can't guarantee the outcome, but you want a law firm like Sweet James on your side when you need someone the most. If you're hurt in an accident, whether it's car, truck, or motorcycle, you call the attorneys at Sweet James. You pay nothing until they win. 800-9-million. 800-9-million. 800-9-000-000. Go to sweetjames.com with an office in L.A.
Southland weather from KFI. Low clouds and fog back in the morning, then sunny. Highs mid-70s to low 80s, Metro LA and the high desert. Windy in the high desert. Low to mid 80s in the valleys. Low 70s for the beaches. Upper 70s to low 80s inland OC. Low to upper 80s and windy in the IE. Right now, 79 in Laguna Woods and 85 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Crash on the 91, Buena Park.
So this one has been reported on the westbound side, coming up on Valley View, where these guys landed in the right lane. Big delays away from Beach Boulevard. And then in Carson, a crash on the 405 northbound just past the 110. They're wrapping things up. Looks like they're still waiting for maybe one or two of the tow trucks. Big delays overall out of Long Beach, getting away from about Alameda. And we're also checking out Irvine. This is the 5 northbound, slowing down from Alton Parkway to Catella with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
It's the Marketer's Report. In this edition, Heather Sparks, head of content at Zenith, the Publicist media agency, discusses the inherently human power of radio hosts.
I actually think DJs were the original influencers. You invited them into your home. You invited them into your ear. You built a relationship with them. You understood and trusted the things that were interesting to them. And yes, now that's got a full flywheel and it's very video based. And there's a lot of different types of influence. And so thinking about the plethora of content, human created versus not human created, I think as humans, we're always looking to feel something. And so I think human connection is never going to go away.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to all the audiences, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow, and all guaranteed human. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Avoiding shorts because of your varicose veins? Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Tap into happy hour with half-priced pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
This August, choose any 2 offers from American Vision Windows. Give them a call or visit the website today.
You don't pay for iHeartRadio. Our advertisers do. That's why it's always been and always will be 100% free. Radio, music, podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app now.
Termites are one of those things we tend to put off. E. coli is here to protect your most expensive investment, your home, your family, and the environment. E. coli offers eco-friendly treatments that are tough on termites, but gentle on kids, pets, and anyone sensitive to chemicals. E. coli has been recognized as one of the top pest control companies in North America by Pest Control Technology magazine. If you suspect a termite problem, call E. coli at 1-800-332-BUGS. 1-800-332-2847. 1-800-332-BUGS.
I definitely tune in to KFI for news. If I turn on the radio, they're going to be talking about it.
It's the go-to station for me.
Listen to KFI. I didn't hear that on the news. You won't. You can't just get everything off of local news and TikTok, right?
People are so quick to go to their podcasts nowadays, but this is a great way to get up-to-date news, be engaged in your community, to know what's happening locally.
It's very unique and different. It's part of Southern California. It gets me through the day.
KFI, AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640. We're stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. We're on every day from 3 until 6. And we're going to talk with Royal Oakes from ABC News, their legal analyst, because today Nick Reiner was formally indicted by prosecutors for murdering his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. And the charges are murder with special circumstances, 2 counts, and also allegations of multiple murders and murders by means of lying in wait. That's the details of the indictment Nathan Hochman announced it today, LA County DA. And let's talk to Roy Lux to see what all this means for Reiner. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, John. Yeah, this is a little bit of a twist, both substantively and procedurally as well in this Nick Reiner case.
What was the substantive change in the charges? Because I know they had leveled charges against him a while back, but this seems to be an upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. This is a head scratcher for a lot of people because they're thinking, what's going on? Well, he already was charged and he said he's not guilty. Well, the big change here is that the district attorney, I think, is recognizing this case isn't going to be about whether he did it. I think they probably have this mountain of evidence, blood all over his hotel room hours after the killings. Everybody's going to know that this guy did it. The question is, what was his mental state? I mean, was he insane? Was he off of his schizophrenia meds? So, he thought he was stabbing a rhinoceros, which, is an actual psychiatric thing. So by adding to the charges saying he was lying in wait, what they're saying is that he planned it. He knew what he was doing. And this is going to boost the possibility of a death penalty charge because you move from murder one to death penalty if it's multiple murders, which this is, or if you use a knife under some circumstances, which they say. But now this is the new and third element of a special circumstance that could justify capital punishment, namely he was lying in wait. So they're anticipating, I think, what the mental defense argument is going to be, and they're trying to head him off with this new allegation.
Right. So this was not a spontaneous psychotic delusion. This was a plan exactly right. That was developed. Does it matter how long he developed the plan, whether it was a week or an hour? Is there any time frame that it has to meet to say, hey, you planned this? This was premeditated?
Yeah, not really. It's a great question because a lot of people, they hear this idea of premeditation and planning and they ask, well, how long? Is there some rule? Do you have to think about it for a day or a week? No, I mean, it can be a matter of seconds. But then if the DA is going to say, well, he premeditated it in the scope of a few seconds, it's a tough putt. They have to really work hard to prove that the guy did plan during that period. It's a rule of reasonableness, but they're just going to present evidence about when the killings happened. And if they have evidence that he was lying in wait, that he was, thinking about this, planning it, deciding it. So we don't know exactly what they have up their sleeve. The other angle is the procedural deal. I mean, as you know, there are two ways to get to trial. You can do a preliminary hearing, which is a public deal, where, as we just saw in the David Burke case, that you put a little highlights reel in. You don't have to have all the evidence, just enough for the judge to say, okay, I get it. There's probable cause. Off you go to trial. The second way, apart from a public preliminary hearing where the defense gets to hear everything and cross-examine, is the grand jury. And that's what the DA did. Nobody knew that on July 20, the grand jury gave this decision, heard the case, because the DA decided they want to go the secret route. When you do the grand jury route, nobody hears what the grand jury is saying. There's no defense lawyer to cross-examine people. Now, later on, the defense will get a transcript of the grand jury, so they'll be able to pick it apart and say, this person was lying or whatever.
Does Reiner go to this?
No preliminary hearing.
Does Reiner go to this grand jury indictment hearing?
There's no guarantee that the actual head guy DA would be in the room. More likely, it's his trial gladiator, the person who's been carrying the ball in court. They're the ones that present the evidence. They assemble the grand jury.
Right, but what about the defendant or the defendant's attorney? You said the defense attorney doesn't participate. Can they sit there?
Nope, they're not in the room at all. No, and if by chance they called as a witness a defendant, which they didn't apparently here, you wouldn't even be able to have the lawyer in the room. So that's the good thing about the grand jury from the defendant. From the prosecution standpoint, it's a big secret thing, at least for now, and the whole public doesn't see what they have. But that's what they did in this case. So now there's no public preliminary hearing that was going to go on shortly for a week or more, so the whole world would get a clue. They wouldn't see it because they don't like cameras, but that's not going to happen now. Instead, what's happening is because he was arraigned today and he pled not guilty today, Reiner actually has a right to say, okay, let's get it on. I want a trial in 60 days. That's my right end of the law. Well, that ain't going to happen because his lawyers are going to be saying to him, pal, this is maybe a death penalty case. We're not ready. We got to have shrinks. We got to have Dr. Freud lined up to say, you were out of your mind. So we're not going to trial by October 11. We'll go to trial maybe sometime in 2027. That's almost certainly what will happen.
There are reports, and you never know how true they are, that Reiner is engaging in a lot of highly erratic behavior, to put it mildly, while in prison. How does a defense attorney handle a guy who may not be capable of making that decision to do it in 60 days or wait until you get a whole ream of experts to analyze the situation, pushing the trial back a year? How does a guy like Nick Reiner do that if he's out of his mind?
Well, that's a great question, but it's actually a two-sided coin. On the one hand, as you suggest, it's kind of a problem for the defense attorney to get control of the situation, sit down and talk rationally with the client and get them on board with strategic decisions. So that can be a problem. But the other side of the coin is, if the word gets out, the public and potential jurors, that this guy isn't all there, he's causing fights with the guards, like what we learned, as a week or two ago, is, they were going to take him from the shower back to his cell, and there was a little delay, and he's freaking out. There's some sort of suggestion of violence or weird activity. That could reinforce the idea in the public's mind that, okay, this guy isn't all here. He's acting up. He's behaving in a crazy way. That can support the notion that, at least for a time, months ago, he was acting in a crazy way when he killed his parents, which everybody hears about and thinks, well, he must be nuts because, who does that? We've seen pictures of Dodger Stadium, throwing out the first ball with Michelle and Rob Reiner, and everybody's saying, how could this happen? Well, the defense wants you to think, how could it happen? It's because he wasn't in his right mind. Now, he may be well enough to sit there at counsel table and help out, and because if he can't do that, then he goes to the hospital. There is no trial. They medicate him up, and maybe in a year or two, he's good enough to drag him back to court and put him on trial. But I think what the defense wants is not that. They probably instead just want him to be presented to the jury, to the public, to the pretrial publicity as somebody who's just not all there. He can't behave himself in prison. And meantime, the defense probably is going to be able to, speak to him privately enough to plan the defense and make sure he's on board with the strategy.
All right. Hey, Royal, thanks very much. Good stuff.
You bet. Thank you.
Royal Oaks, ABC News legal analyst on Nick Reiner getting indicted by a grand jury for the murders of his parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer. We'll have more coming up. John Kobylt Show, and Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. Students in the LA School District have gone back to class for the start of the school year with new restrictions. And millions of people have crowded cities and towns in Spain looking for the best views of a total solar eclipse. We'll have more at the top of the hour, going to the 110 next.
GiveMeTheVIN.com. This summer, you can sell your car in a hot minute. You ought to try it. Enter your VIN number and get an offer fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com's offer will beat CarMax. If not, they'll pay you $100. GiveMeTheVIN.com. We'll get you your check on the spot. Easy, fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com. America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
From the Odoo.com Weather Center, Odoo, the only business software you need. Sunny tomorrow, high 70s to the 90s. This report, actually, we don't have this report. From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Stall on the 110 in South LA.
It's along the southbound side coming up on Exposition. That's where middle lane's blocked. Delays, well, it's backing up all the way from the 5. Beyond the stall, it's still slow moving ahead to Manchester Avenue, and northbound delays in stretches leaving the 91 heading back to the 5. You got that stall in Woodland Hills. South 101 coming up on DeSoto. That's where the right lane is off limits and traffic's just really heavy getting away from Las Virgenes. Also, it's very slow out of Santa Monica, 10 eastbound, leaving almost 20th Street, delays all the way to the 5. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Excuse me. Look. Oh. Excuse me a second. If you're looking to sell your home, you call Seller's Advantage, and they're going to make you a cash offer with no need for repairs. They'll close in days, they buy with cash, and they might give you a $10,000 advance to help you with your moving. Check out the reviews online. Call for no obligation offer, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747. They'll buy your home as is for cash. There you go. SellersAdvantage.com.
Sellers Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Sellers Advantage.
DRE number 01961658. Providence Realty DRE number 01915212.
Fix your termite problem with no move out. Seen termite droppings or discarded wings? Call Pacific Coast Termite for a free inspection. If needed, get no tent, no gas treatment with a 2-year warranty. Call today and they'll be there within 5 days. Call 800-PACIFIC. Some restrictions apply.
Silver is no longer just a commodity, it's a strategic resource. Global demand is hitting record highs while supply remains tight. Visit LearCapital.com for your free silver report. LearCapital.com, LearCapital.com.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
All right, let me tell you something. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until renewal. Well, your business runs all year round, and so do the gaps and the risk. That's why I'm introducing SuperSure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, HR manager, it can be really complex just to buy a policy online. SuperSure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like Find Print Facts, which actually translates your current policy into plain English so you know what's covered and what's not. Plus, they have a business value calculator so you can get an idea of what your business is worth so you actually know what you need to protect it. Go to supersure.com, one super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Go to supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Want up to $25,000 in free silver? Where you make a qualifying purchase through Golden Crest Metals, you can receive up to $25,000 in real silver added to your account. Call 888-447-7857 now for your free information kit. That's 888-447-7857. Again, call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offers a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium minted coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credited to customer account. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
Worried about what your breath smells like after coffee, lunch, drinks, or a night out? That's why we created Zellman's, the breath mint for grown-ups. Zellman's is not available in stores, so go to Zellmans.com. That's Zellmins.com and use code SAVE for 15% off your first order.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new iHeart podcast. Real-life drama with real-life consequences and advice that might just save the day. Hear it now on the iHeart Radio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
If you run a business, you've probably heard plenty of AI promises. But here's one thing we know for sure. When consumers hear an ad for your business, 90% want to know it's a real person talking. And that's what you'll get when you advertise with iHeart. We're guaranteed human. That means real voices, real connection, and trusted audio that helps businesses drive results. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices. Call 844-844-iHeart today. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Coming up on the next Gary and Shannon show, how much information is too much information when it comes to your health? We'll talk about data maxing. The Gary and Shannon show starts tomorrow morning at 9.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. You can do the Moist line, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86, or talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app, or we're going to play 2 rounds on Friday. Okay, we're live on YouTube for a few more minutes, and then it becomes recorded. We're live on KFI and the streaming, and then the podcast comes out in a few minutes. And here's some of the things you ought to listen for later on if you are just joining the show or you've just been here for a little bit, we had Lisa Lange on from PETA in the 4 o'clock hour, where I talked with her because I thought PETA hadn't been doing nearly enough to get on Bass's case for the atrocious things that are going on Skid Row with the dogs being abused, killed, and tortured and murdered. It's just awful. So we had to go around there. And we covered, first half hour, Newsom being caught, not buying the trains that he promised to buy, faking, working on laying down rail. Julie Watts did a great story for CBS California. We played it and we talked about it in that first hour, among other things. This is also a fascinating story. What do you do with an illegal alien whose home country won't accept him? Well, for decades, we used to just let him stay here. And that's what Roberto Mosquera did. Roberto Mosquera was part of the 1980 Mariel boat lift from Cuba, if you're old enough to remember that. He came here with his mother, sister, and infant daughter, but he didn't live peacefully. He joined a gang in Miami as a teenager, and in his 20s, he took a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to attempted murder, shooting a rival gangster in the leg. Now, ordinarily, that means you're being deported. Had he been from any other country, he would have been deported. But Cuba wasn't accepting returns. So Mosquera was allowed to stay. He had to check in every year with an immigration agent. And along the lines, he became, over the years, he became a plumber and a born-again Christian. He got married, had 4 daughters, but he still had that attempted murder conviction on the books because he did plead guilty and he should have been deported. But none of the presidents since, I guess you'd have to go back to the first Bush and Clinton and the second Bush and Obama and then Biden. Well, Trump said enough of this. And Mosquera, now 59, went to renew his work permit a year ago, June. He went to the immigration office. And Mosquera thought it would be short, but it didn't turn out that way. An immigration official told him, your time in America is up. Still couldn't go back to Cuba. Cuba's still not accepting him. So he was taken to a detention center in Miami and then another one in El Paso. He couldn't talk to lawyers for 2 weeks, and then they moved him again on a small luxury jet. What's this? Nobody would explain. Mosquera was with 4 other detainees from 4 other countries. Well, from the luxury jet, he was transferred to a military cargo plane at a U.S. air base in Djibouti, which is an East African nation. And then the plane took him, well, he didn't know where. The plane lands. He has no idea where he is. Nobody would tell him. He gets out of the plane. He looks around. He was in Eswatini. Anybody ever hear of Eswatini? Eswatini. It is a tiny country landlocked in southern Africa. It used to be called Swaziland. I've heard of Swaziland, but they changed the name. He had been outside the U.S. since he was 12. Now he's in Eswatini, and he's got no money. And the Eswatini government picked him up and put him in a maximum security prison. And he's stuck there. There's no charges against him. There's no way to appeal. There's no sign anyone's ever going to let him out. Cuba still doesn't want him. The U.S. still won't take him back. That's it. End of story. Now, they have a long sob story in the New York Times if you want to read this. And obviously, there's a lawsuit, but being stuck in this, I can't even know how to pronounce this, the Eswatini prison, he has no way, he has no recourse in American courts. So he's stuck in the jail cell, the prison. with it's indefinite, without charges, and no way to access a lawyer here. And they've done this. They've done this for years, not very often, but apparently he's had his due process because he was legally deported. They just never deposited the body anywhere because the old policy was if your home country doesn't want you, in many cases, you got to stay. Until Trump said, well, we don't have to do that, do we? No, we don't have to do that. So Eswatini, we paid the money. Apparently, we've been giving them and other countries lots of money to take in unwanted illegal aliens that we wanted deported. And so there he is. Don't be illegal in this country anymore. It may take a while, but it's not going to turn out well. When we come back, it'll be tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, 1 hour, because the San Diego, I'm doing it again. Los Angeles Chargers.
That's twice this week.
I know, it's twice. It's like me saying John and Ken for months.
That's what Ray just said.
Los Angeles Chargers have their first preseason game, preseason coverage at 4 o'clock. And I know you're all really excited about that, but we're only going to be on from 3 to 4. So we're doing a live stream bonus hour at 11 a.m. on YouTube and X. So there, you've been told. And Friday we'll be back to normal. Crozier is the news. Conway's up next. And we'll see you tomorrow somewhere. And Conway is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI.